Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy day 2 of the draft. This is the Anthony Gargano Show, live, PHLY, right here, brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union, TrueMark.com/PHLY. Jihaad Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. Love this pick. It's a great pick. It is a great pick. First of all, off a big board, he's a top 12 to 15 player, all right? It's just a pure big board talent. Forget position, forget everything, right? If you're just looking at NFL talent, he's a legitimate NFL talent. He's a first-round NFL talent. And it's first round that didn't have first-round grades after the first 13 players. In that sense, he's one of them. This is a great pick. It's just a great pick. So here's the deal. He's a space linebacker. But not only is he a space linebacker, he can walk down when Vic wants to go 50, right? You got your 5-man front, your 50 front, and you go down. He walks down, and he rushes off the edge. You don't have to take him off the field. He's good in space. He can rush off the edge. He's powerful. He's fast. He's a specimen, 6'3", 235. It's a great pick. I mean, not to mention that you needed a linebacker, all right? Yeah, you had to have a linebacker. When you looked at, first of all, you don't know what Nakobe Dean's deal is going to be because it's a complicated situation with a bad injury. So you got that, and then you got Trot Jr., and that's it on your depth chart besides Bond, right? Like, you needed a linebacker in the worst way. This kid's a Ravens type of linebacker, all right? That's the kind of linebacker he is. It's a great pick. This defense is going to be nasty. Don't let him get a safety, all right? This defense has the chance to be there. It's littered with SEC kids. It's freaking unbelievable what this defense is going to be. I got to tell you, I am in love with this pick. And by the way, Jihaad, local product, right? My neck of the woods, South Jersey, Timber Creek High School before he goes to IMG Academy, and then on to Alabama. Another great kid, great family. I was already talking to people that work with him. You got a series of coaches and trainers and all that stuff. And, they all already, everybody's glowing. You saw him last night. Like, he's the type of kid you fall in love with. My cousin Joey said, man, I love the kid's face. He's got a good face. You know what's funny? And I'm a big believer in this, that people from a certain geographical area, there's a familiarity. They're like, not to say we all look alike, but there's traits, there's character traits. And it's funny, I look at him, you go, yeah, he's from here, like I've seen him before. It's an interesting kind of dynamic. And then he speaks like he's just one of us. By the way, EAGLES, doing it on the stage in Lambeau is freaking awesome. What a pick. It's a great pick. The board was awesome. It fell perfectly from an Eagles situation, from the Eagles standpoint. It fell perfectly. And I know they were trying to trade up to get him. I was talking to people during the draft, and they were going, when it was who was it, 19? They were trying to trade up.
San Diego?
The Charger, no. So they were trying to trade up. It was in the 20s. Was it San Diego? Yeah, it was San Diego. San Diego, Green. No, it was Green Bay. They were trying to trade with Green Bay and then Minnesota. They were trying to work that deal to trade up to get him then. And then he falls. It's unbelievable. I mean, the first round fell perfectly for the Bird standpoint. It's just a perfect. Now it sets up for day 2. We know what you want. Like, we know what you need now. You still got your same needs, right? You got a safety. You got a tight end. By the way, their tight end, I believe, is going to be Fanning, the kid from Bowling Green. I think that they really like him. Now, Scott Loeffler's quarterback coach from Bowling Green, so I think he gave him the green light on him. He's not a blocker. He's just a freak pass catcher. He's a receiver, is what he is. So I think it's going to be Fanning. So you got tight end, safety, interior defensive lineman, and O-line, right? Guard, a tackle that can slot in and play guard. Second round, there's not a lot of that. Not a lot of O-line there here. The run on O-lineman went in the first round. But what you got is you got D-line, you got safety, and you got tight end. Because none of the tight end, well, from Mason Taylor, none of them went. Mason Taylor, Arroyo, Fanning. Now, I love Mason Taylor, but I think he's going to go right soon today. And I do think Fanning is going to be their pick. Good morning, VG.
What's up, brother?
Oh, man, I love this man. I love this kid.
Dude, what world?
I love him. A linebacker. First time they take a linebacker. You heard it a million times. Since 1979, Jerry Robinson.
What world
UCLA.
is this, dude? We have a physical defensive team, and they're taking linebackers in the first round.
This defense.
I went to bed with a smile on my face last night.
This defense is unreal. It's going to be freaking nasty.
Dude, and
sick.
What I love that you brought up, because you mentioned that he's a Ravens player. So I was on this Ravens site last night, and this guy, I forget, the Russell Street Report, he had a big Ravens report. They're Campbell, Ravens fit. Looks the part of a Raven in most everything he does on the field. Plays with high intelligence, tough, physical, explosive. Would fit perfectly into the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
That's the kind of players the Eagles are drafting now.
I love Starks. They got Starks.
Yeah.
I love Starks.
Yeah.
But to our point, like I love the fact that they needed a linebacker. They needed one. Like, and this kid can play. And this is, you know what I love about this too? Is this Fangio, right? This is Fangio's fingerprints all over this pick.
Totally.
All right? Because he goes, all right, listen, you remember, Zach Bourne was brought here to play this role.
Yeah.
This was what Campbell's doing is Zach Bourne's role from last year. And then Zach Bourne is put inside in his all world. Mm-hmm. And now Campbell comes in and does this.
And he's a little versatile. You can sprinkle him all around the field. He can do it all.
Dude,
his coverage skills are supposed to be legit. He's got good hands.
No,
he was a wide receiver in high school for a little bit.
Yeah, he's great space, man. Timber Creek, over the bridge, 15 minutes from my house.
Dude, I don't know what's going on in Timber Creek, because we talked about earlier. They got that woman. She's on the Nike Sprint team. Timber Creek's kicking out some athletes over there.
Oh, that whole region. Well, Ezraku's from that.
Is he?
And not Timber Creek, but he's from
that whole little pocket area.
Yeah, that area, Williamstown, Sicklerville. You know that whole spot. What? But that whole South Jersey, the Southeast of PA. The prep, you got great. I'm telling you, it's my mission now to just shine a light on all the local great athletes that come out of this town. We're such a great sports community, and now we produce how much we love. Mm-hmm. We produce it, which makes sense, because if you just care about sports, and that's all we do here in Philadelphia, well, the children would flourish in it, mm-hmm. and we flourish in it. Our kids are really, really good. There's a lot of talent here.
And you were spot on. Like, as soon as you hear him talking stuff, I was like, oh, he's one of us. And then he busts out the chant on the stage.
You know what I'm saying about when you see a kid? Like, you looked at his face, and I went,
yeah.
My cousin texted me to see. He goes, I love his face. I like his face. And I was like, yeah, I seen that face. Like, he's got our kind of face. It's mm-hmm. like, Delaware Valley.
Gonna fit right in, plug and play.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
go.
no, dude. But I'm you're right.
You got a linebacker from
What-
Bama.
what first round?
This is nuts.
It is sick, right? Like we think about
How many kids?
all those drafts.
We saw Jerry Robinson. How many kids have never seen a first round linebacker?
Oh my God, we were children when they took that. We were little kids.
Oh man, Howie gets sexier and sexier every year.
No, you know what he's doing?
He's listening to
yes.
people. Yes.
Well, no, he's listening to Vic Fangio.
Oh.
Vic Fangio goes, "Hey, take this kid."
He's a game wrecker.
All right.
Yeah.
Aye,
Captain.
right? Like, you know, I mean, no, seriously. And listen, it's Howie's pick. Like, he's going to, you know, Howie Jeffrey, who's Jeffrey's a big part of it. All right, yeah, that's great.
I mean, you see what he did with a ball with a linebacker. How are you going to say no to Vic at this point?
And by the way, I mean,
He's a top. Everywhere I read, he's a top 12 pick.
he is.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He's on a big board where there's no position. He is a stud. This kid's a player.
Yeah.
I can't believe the board fell the way it fell. It fell perfectly. In fact, you had your choice because you saw like Green there.
Yep.
But nobody's thinking Campbell's going to be there.
No.
Nobody's thinking Campbell was supposed to go somewhere in the teens.
Dude, it was a nice night because the people around us aren't. Whoever the Cowboys picked, everyone's trashing that pick. It was a far reach. I mean, the kid might be a player at some point, but not where they picked him. The Giants getting Dart, fine.
Yeah, I mean, the kid, the Cowboys, the Tyler Booker from Alabama, he's a guard. I mean, they needed O-line help.
He looked like a nice kid. I love the way he ran down the room.
I'll be honest with you. I was actually scared. I was scared they were going to take Warren because I thought Warren would have been a really good spot for them. You know, like that's at that spot because Warren fell.
Were you surprised he wasn't the first tight end taken, Warren?
No, because we knew that Loveland was going to be the first tight end.
Yeah,
but I mean, still, I mean, it was going to be Loveland, Warren in any order. You know, I mean, I'm not completely shocked.
And you got Sanders. He had the whole room set up, his special off-site room, and man,
well, I mean,
the rumblings were true.
Well, but we everybody said it. Like again, the tape doesn't lie. I think the biggest blunder was the Giants. People talk about the Browns. I like what the Browns did. Listen, Hunter's going to be a terrific player, right? Jacksonville, you got an extra first-round pick. You're building your team.
Yeah,
that's a huge. The haul they got for that pick, and you still walk away with Mason Graham,
which people say is a great pickup for them.
Great pick, and so now your front is you've created a defensive front that's nasty. So I like what the Browns did. I thought what the Browns did.
I thought it was good for both teams. I thought Sunshine needs a receiver down there. Like that's a stud receiver for the Jags.
Well, but he's really going to be a D-back.
You think he'll be more of a D-back?
Yeah. He'll be a D-back first, and then I think you mix him in at receiver.
All right.
You know that. And listen. Baselli wanted it. Baldy called it. If you remember, maybe not.
Well, that might have been the premonition Baldy said he was going to have with the first couple picks.
So Baldy texted me early in the day, watch Jacksonville. And he was spot on.
That was the premonition.
Yeah, Baldy's going to join us a little bit later on today to talk about this. But, yeah.
Dude, Campbell coming out of high school was the top edge recruit. So, he's like can do it all on the defensive side. Linebacker, edge rusher if they need it. The beauty is, again, he doesn't come off the field. Right.
Like, you don't have to substitute. That is a huge, huge deal, not having a substitute. You walk down, right? You're in space. You're going to walk down and rush on passing situation, third and long. He walks down and rushes off the edge.
Love it.
Like, that's a big deal. That's why I look at this defense. My God, it's a dream. We love defense in this town. And, I mean, this could be one of the greatest defenses that first of all, last year, I thought rivaled the Buddy era. Like, it was even better than the Andy Reid. Like, the way that defense played, it was sick.
It was sick, and it may have been the best defense, but there's something about
I know.
You know,
Forget about
but
that.
We're nostalgic for that.
Yeah, but this defense last year, I thought the way it started to go, by the end of the year, it was the best Eagles defense. You know, I mean, it rivaled that defense.
Yeah,
it was better than the Andy Reid defense
for sure.
and they were great, and I love that defense. Trot and everybody, Hugh. But if you look at if you look at what it projects to be next year, with Cooper and Quinyon getting better, and Nolan getting better, and
Maybe Huff
Carter,
can find his way to be a third down rusher.
it's unbelievable.
Look at this guy.
I gotta just stay away from this dude.
What's up, cuz?
What's up, psycho?
Jackson Dart to the Giants. Tommy Cutlets loses his job. Hello. What's up, guys?
You're out of your mind. What a pick.
Oh my God! I am.
pick.
And so Howie. After, I don't know if you watched the press conference. I didn't, but I read his transcript. Everything he's saying is this guy's going to be Micah Parsons or Abdul Carter, or he starts off as linebacker. He has versatility to where he can play everywhere. But I think they're viewing him as a defensive end.
No, okay. So here's what they're doing.
Man.
Trust me, because I know it even better than he does. You got a kid can play space linebacker, right? In passing situations, you don't have to substitute. You walk down when you go to a 50 front. You walk right down, and then you rush the passer off the edge. That's the beauty of this kid. He's really good at coverage, and he can rush the passer. Yes, he can be a Micah Parsons-esque. He's a great tackler. He's got great coverage skills. He's a really good athlete, terrific hips, the whole thing, and he can rush the passer. This is a Vic Fangio.
Yep.
Boom. This is what he envisioned. Remember, Bourne was brought in to do that.
Yep.
And got switched inside. This is a great freaking pick, Johnny Marks.
Well, and you look at the defense, and right now everybody's getting paid on offense. So you have the young guys right now that aren't making any money, so you can afford to pay everybody on offense. At some point, you're going to need to pay these defensive players, right?
Yeah.
And you have another young, explosive, strong, aggressive.
Yeah.
The edge that this team has on defense now, and now you've added another one.
Yes.
Is unbelievable.
Yes.
So if you're expecting a drop off from what they did last year, good freaking luck, because now you have another weapon. You have a Swiss Army knife, depending on how you want to use them, and you can use them in a number of different ways.
What's this, dude? First, second, third, down, down, down.
Yep.
All right.
Don't leave the field.
That is everything. You want him in space, right? You want him to walk down, right? And then boom, 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 he comes off the edge.
Man.
It's like that's a big freaking deal. It's a ski for a defensive coordinator like Fangio, who doesn't do a lot of exotic blitzes, right? He likes to play a lot of base. He having a kid like him. He's a perfect fit for his scheme.
Perfect. Yeah, the athleticism on this defense is absolutely unbelievable.
I was saying it to VG. He's a Ravens type of linebacker.
Yep.
Like imagine we're in Philadelphia,
yep.
And we got Ravens types of. We got linebackers and edges and tackles like this corners. You got middle of the field like DeJean. This thing's outrageous.
It is. And I love watching the reaction around the league this morning, which is they let Howie do it again. I don't know what the league's doing, but they let Howie do it again.
They tried not to let him. They weren't making the trade. It's like he's trying to trade up. They wouldn't do it.
I was telling him. I was talking to people there. 20 Packers are on the clock. 24. They're trying to trade up.
Yep.
To get him, and they were trying to get Campbell. The board fell. Perfect. You couldn't. First of all, the fact that Green was still available too, like you go, oh man,
crazy.
Right? But Campbell's a legit top 12 talent. Like he was a legit first round grade.
Yep. Sometimes you need last year they got a little bit lucky that Mitchell fell.
Yes.
And then they're able to. And I love watching last year the tape that they released where Jeffrey Lurie is. He can't control himself because he knows DeJean's there, and they're trying to trade up to get him, and they love him, and he couldn't sleep the night before, and they get him. So, like, sometimes you need to be, it's better to be lucky than good. And the Eagles are both, right? Like, the fact that he was there and they were able to wisely move up one pick and give up a 5th-round draft pick to get the guy that they were waiting for. And now today, are they going to try to trade up in the 2nd round?
Yeah.
Do they trade out of the 2nd round to get another 3rd, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't have a ton of picks, which is fine, but they have to hit on these picks, and they've done so great. Their top 3 picks the last few years have been impact
Well,
players.
the beauty is you got next year's. You got that coffer with all the picks from next year. So
you can leverage them.
You have you got some chips to play. So you need safety. You need tight end.
Yes.
That's going to be Fanning.
That's
all right?
Harold Fannin Jr. Let's
All
do
right?
it.
That's going to be Fanning. You need interior D-line, and you need guard on O-line.
Yeah, that's
And
about.
you're not going to get that today. So that is tomorrow, the O-line.
That's day 3.
tomorrow.
Yep.
This will be today. And
Safety will be today.
This will be today.
Agreed.
You know, this one you never know.
Yep.
So I think you're in a great spot. Just a fabulous spot, man.
All right.
Johnny Bucks!
Go Birds!
Go Birds! I want to
Go
just
Birds! So I've said this a lot since the Eagles have won the Super Bowl and whatever. Like, this isn't the organization that I grew up with, man.
No.
I watched Norman Braman say, we're not going to pay Reggie White. We're not going to pay the best player, the 2nd best player in football history. Why would we pay him? Are you crazy? Like, that was the Eagles team that I was raised with.
Yes.
Not this organization that's the best organization in football. And continue to hit home. Like, home run last night.
Dude, home run, baby.
Bam!
I love it.
Go Birds!
Johnny Bucks fired up. I like when Johnny Bucks fired up.
It's nice.
Yeah, that's great.
He's got nice joggers on.
I was yelling at him about Aaron Nola earlier.
I knew baseball couldn't be far away from the conversation. I heard you talking Mariners, then I realized it was your. I see he's talking Mariners. What the freak? Then I realized it was your betting segment. Yes. Johnny Bucks.
See you, Johnny.
All right, let's take care of some business, and then Z Berm, who was all over it last night. Great job. Let me just laud for a second the wonderful job of the PHLY football squad. All right, Z Berm, Bo Wolf, Fran Duffy, outrageous work last night on the draft show.
They're spectacular.
Yeah.
I was tuned in all night with them on my laptop. They were spectacular.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Z
There's
Berm.
nothing like the coverage they give you, and it's all from the Eagles' perspective. Fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's great work. Just great work. All right. Hit us up with a little True Mark, baby.
Oh, you know, those folks over at TrueMark always doing good things by us. And it is April, which means it's Financial Literacy Month. And we've got something to help you get off the field teaching your kids how to handle their money. If you're a TrueMark Financial member, you've got a fantastic opportunity to help your kids and teens to learn how to earn, save, and spend wisely with their Greenlight account. And even if you're not a member, you can sign up and become a member. So now, Greenlight account comes with an app. It's not just like any app. Nope. It's a game changer for your kids, whether they're saving goals, learning how to track their spending, or even getting their allowance. It all happens right there at their fingertips and your fingertips, all through this cool app. And get this, each kid gets their own debit card. That's right. They can make real world purchases, feel like a little mini adult, build real world money skills, and you get peace of mind that they can't go crazy because you're in control of it while they make smart choices with their money. They learn how to be responsible with their money. So if you're looking for a way to teach your kids some financial plays this Financial Literacy Month, we can't recommend this enough. It's like training for life's biggest game. So do yourself a favor. Head over to TrueMark.com/Greenlight. TrueMark.com/Greenlight to get all the details and sign up today for these cool Greenlight accounts. And don't miss the chance to set your kid up for some financial success.
All right, Bet Parks Friday for you. That's right. Let's talk about the Bet Parks Sportsbook online casino app. Fightins today. We got day baseball. It works out great.
I love it.
We got a little day baseball from Wrigley. From Wrigley Field. Right off Lake Michigan.
You love it.
I do.
Wrigley had some problems this weekend. Dodgers took it over. Dodger fans were doing a parade around Wrigley.
Yeah, Wrigleyville, man. For 2 years, it was my office.
Yeah?
Yeah, I covered
you
the
have a
Cubs.
fondness for it or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it was so long ago. It feels like another lifetime. But it was a great place. Fightins are let's see, what's the line today?
Plus 120.
Plus, because Walker's pitching today.
Yeah.
And look at this. $25 on the Fightins, pays 28 if they win. You can live bet on the Fightins. You can do it on hoops, hockey playoffs, which were a lot of fun. The whole thing, live bet, right on the BetParks app, all the stuff the brain tells you about. You can bet individual player performance like hits, home runs, ribbies, strikeouts. The BetParks online casino app has you covered. Always another way to win with all the live casino games like live dealer blackjack and roulette and craps and all the great slots they have based off of TV shows and movies. All your favorite stuff. Cash Eruption, isn't that your favorite?
Love it.
All right, all that stuff.
Who doesn't like to erupt some cash?
Anyway, new customers get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. You got to be 21. BetParks.com has all the details, by the way. You got to be 21. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, joining us now, who covers the Eagles. I'm just lauding him for the great job he did last night with Fran Duffy and Bo Wolf. He's our man, Z-Berm. Zach Berman, Zachariah.
Stand up for Zach. Zach was great in the studio. Then he rushed down the NovaCare last night. He was all over the place.
Great work, buddy.
I appreciate it. Good morning. This is fun, right? This is why you do it for nights like last night. You know, if that doesn't get you excited, you're in the wrong business.
So I was giddy. Like how often I was texting you in the group the whole thing.
I thought you were in the draft room. You're plugged in.
I love that stuff, man. I freaking love it. I do. I freaking love it. And speaking of love, Z-Berm, what a freaking pick. This is a great pick by the Eagles.
Yeah, especially if he can be the pass rusher that he has the upside to be, that, you know, Howie was suggesting last night. Like, I heard you talking to John Marks before I came on, and I agree with you that he's not just this, he's not just that, right? One thing that Howie said is don't put him in a box. He's going to play off the ball, but make no mistake, like, he's a first-round pick, and he's the Eagles' pick because of his ability to affect the quarterback. And I think it's pretty telling that his only interaction with the team was with Jeremiah Washburn, the edge rusher coach, not Bobby King, the inside linebackers coach, right? And so I'm not saying he's going to be Micah Parsons, but I think you hit it on the head before. He's a 3-down player who can. He's not a linebacker who can blitz, right? I mean, he's like a pass rusher who can drop into coverage.
Correct.
And I think that's the way to look at it. The versatility. I did not. You know, going into the draft day, I did not think he was going to be there when the Eagles picked. The shoulder injury really kind of pushed him down during the past week. Howie said as much, you know, when they were going through their scenarios. But the other thing, too, is I was probably looking at him more as the top off-ball linebacker in the draft and not the pass rushing component of it. I'll just give a quick little anecdote here. Fran and I were talking back in February about Jalen Walker, the Georgia edge rusher linebacker who went to the Falcons. And I was saying this guy's versatile. You can use him in different ways. And Fran said then, if you think Jalen Walker could do that, just take Jihaad Campbell because Jihaad Campbell does it better.
Yeah, no, and he's right because Jihaad Campbell plays space linebacker better than Walker. Like, no, it's so valuable to not have to substitute, right? It's so valuable to be able to walk him down and just let him go eat off the edge. Like that's what's incredible. And listen, I mean, you saw it last night. The board fell exactly the way they wanted it to fall. It was perfect. You know, so much so that, you and I know they were trying to trade up at 24. They were trying to trade up to Green Bay. They were trying to trade up to Minnesota because they were looking at Campbell going, oh, my God. If you look at the depth chart, they desperately needed. You got Nakobe Dean, who you don't know what's going to happen, right? Like, you don't know how that's going to play out. And then you got Trot, and that's it.
Yeah, so, I mean, Howie said this was a top 10 player on their board, right? And so I don't think he's throwing that out there unless that's the case. I do, though. I keep going back to the edge rushing component of it. Yeah, I mean, he's going to play stack linebacker, but he's going to be rushing the quarterback, right? And this is I know there's this framed as like the first linebacker the Eagles have taken in the first round since Jerry Robinson in 1979. I view it closer to them taking an edge rusher. Howie said last night, this doesn't change like their positional priorities. They want guys who affect the quarterback, and he affects the quarterback. When I asked Nick and Howie, is he going to start off with the edge rushers, or is he going to start off with the inside backers? Howie wouldn't say. He said they got to get him in the building, but then he referenced the way that Micah Parsons and Abdul Carter started off as inside backers at Penn State and then moved to the edge. Right? I don't think Howie would bring that up if that's not the way they're viewing him. So
and I think that's exactly right. I also think that, and I know that this was a Vic pick. Like Vic, first of all, Howie obviously loved him and Jeffrey. That big board. First of all, the whole board, Zach, fell perfectly, right? Like the way the whole draft went, it worked out great for the Eagles. It did. And he was a consensus top 12 big board kid everywhere. Every scout I talked to, every GM I talked to, I mean, that kid had a legitimate first round grade.
You're right about that. Now there were teams that had major concerns about the medical,
shoulder,
right?
Yeah.
Like similarly, Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan, that's a top 10, top 15 player in this draft. He's still on the board because there's concerns about his knee. So that's something that came up with Howie yesterday was the shoulder, and if he's not red flagged to the point that you don't think this is going to be a long-term injury, then the Eagles have demonstrated in the past. Landon Dickerson's an example of that they're willing to be a little patient for a guy who has an injury that can be recovered from. It's different if it's a Sidney Jones situation, a torn Achilles in March. But Landon Dickerson, for instance, hurts he tears his ACL in December. He kind of gets pushed down the board because of that. He was starting for the Eagles by week 2. I don't know if Jihaad Campbell is going to be on the field rookie minicamp or OTAs, but the Eagles don't need to worry about August right now. This is a long-term play, and if he's fine for the season, you're right. I mean, I think that he's a 3-down player for the Eagles. He's 21. He turned 21 in February. Okay, he's 6'3", 235. There's room to add to that frame, like the length. That's something that fans will see, and just the athleticism. You don't get athletes like this at that position very often.
No.
And the fact that when he was recruited to Alabama, Nick Saban recruited him as an edge rusher, moved inside because they had some injuries. But the reality is, when you can do both, it speaks to the type of player you are.
Yeah, he's a freak. He's a freak athlete. He's a great athlete, is what he is. And, to boot, and this is the cherry on top, because I love our local kids, the kids from 20 minutes from where I live.
Yeah.
I mean, there's good football, all right, in our area. There's some really good football. I love the kid, and the kids. The kid's a sweetheart. You saw him last night doing the EAGL. ES. People are going to love him. It's just a home run. And you look at this defense, it's just going to get more teeth and more teeth. It's a nasty defense, man. I know they lost a couple pieces. I think they're going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they have a lot of pieces there. I'm curious to see how safety shakes out. I did not expect them to go safety in the first round last night, right? So I know there were fans hoping for Malachi Starks, but obviously that couldn't have happened. But safety is a spot where we need to see how they replace Gardner Johnson, because I really like Gardner Johnson. I had some questions about the edge rush, but I think Campbell really helps you out in terms of rushing the quarterback if he's the type of rusher that they think he can be. I mean, he led Alabama in sacks last year as not a full-time edge rusher, right? So I think that really speaks to it.
Yep, no, I'm with you. All right, let's turn our attention to today. All right, so you got day 2, and if you look at their needs, right? You mentioned safety, tight end, interior D-line, O-line. Now, there's no O-line right now. I think they'll get the O-line tomorrow. It's kind of how I look at it. Safety, I think they like Fanning. I think Fanning's the guy that they're going to target at tight end. What are you feeling?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I heard you say that before you came on. I'm sorry, before I came on, you and I have spoken off air. Fannin, I had Fannin in the mock draft on allphly.com. This is obviously a little early. The guy I had thought throughout this process, Mason Taylor was a tight end that they really liked. But if Fannin's their guy, I mean, I definitely think they can get Fannin at 64. I think even a move back or the third round could be the range for Fannin. You don't want to get cute there. I mean, knowing the Eagles, they're always looking at the line of scrimmage. So, if you're talking about defensive tackle, a guy like TJ Sanders from South Carolina is someone I would keep my eye on. The other thing too is because of Campbell's versatility, and because you can never have enough pass rushers. If there's an edge there that you really like, I don't think the Campbell pick prohibits you from doing that. I don't think it's a I do like the safety class, but unless the South Carolina safety, unless you trade up for him, I don't see that. I think second round's a little early for some of the other guys that we've been talking about at that position. I can see the Eagles trying to trade up here if there's someone, whether it's like the South Carolina safety or if there's an edge rusher, D tackle, or an O tackle that they like. I still think they'll continue to be mindful of offensive tackles. I agree that's a position they can wait for tomorrow. But like Ursary, the kid from Minnesota, is someone to watch. Anthony Belton from NC State, someone they brought in here. I really like Charles Grant, the O tackle from William & Mary, someone else that they brought in. So those are a few players there.
Coming up did a great breakdown on Grant.
Yeah, but the reality is, I mean, tight end is really the spot I'm watching closely. So whether it's Harold Fannin at some point tonight, whether if Fannon's their guy, then you're not looking at trading up for Mason Taylor. But tight end's a spot. I mean, since Dallas Goedert in 2018, they've drafted one tight end, and that's Grant Calcaterra. So I'm watching tight end closely going into tonight.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you and I both love Taylor. I'm a Taylor. I love Taylor. Fannin is a really good receiver, and that's what he is. He's all receiver. I think Taylor's got a more of a body, more of a willingness to block a little bit, even though he's a pass catcher first. And then you got Arroyo too, who's out there as well.
Yeah,
he's an interesting kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought second, third round was going to be a fertile area for tight ends going into this draft. That's obviously still applicable, but I keep having my eye on the line of scrimmage. And so TJ Sanders, Shamar Turner, two guys who the Eagles have shown interest in. Like I said, some of these offensive linemen, when my rule of thumb when covering the Eagles is when in doubt, look at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and listen, that's been the formula, and that's been this formula of success. Hey, Andrew, when Fran's on, just pop him up, and the three of us will chop it up. After the incredible job you did last night, what was your overall assessment of how the first round went?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that there was going to be three quarterbacks. There were only two. So the fact that I think obviously the big move of the night was what Jacksonville did, and I could say what Cleveland did, a bold move on Jacksonville's end. That's a high price to pay. But I also looked at it.
Everybody's ripping Cleveland. I'm like, you got a big haul, man. And you got another interior defensive lineman who I like. I don't see why you're ripping them. And listen, but Baselli, I think it's a great move by them. I know Baselli coveted Hunter, and you got a kid that you bring him home, you build the franchise around him.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it this way. I thought there were two elite players in this draft, and that's Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
And so if you come away with one of them, even if you pay a big price to do it, you're still getting an elite player. A guy who has the all pro potential. That's what you're trying to do. I mean, I'll defer to Fran's evaluations, but I thought there's a big drop off going from Hunter to Mason Graham. Now that said, if you're the Browns, you gave up a lot to get Deshaun Watson. Did not work. I did not like this quarterback draft class at all. I like next year's quarterback draft class going into college football season a lot more. So if you're the Browns, you want to get those first rounders.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait for Fran's draft coverage next year because we'll be talking about like 3, 4, 5 potential first round quarterbacks.
Yeah, yeah. Although it's funny about it, Fran. It's not. If Arch stays, the class isn't that good next year.
There are a lot of intriguing names. So I was really high on Garrett Nussmeier. I know, Zach, you did that piece on Doug Nussmeier. And when they went down there, I was really high on what I saw from him early in the season. It was only his first year as a starter in that offense. So I think that the arrow is pointing up on him. There are a lot of interesting players in next year's class that are going to be worth evaluating. Now, you're going to need some guys to make that step up, but I think that you have Aller. We know that some of the issues that he had down the stretch. Obviously, he was limited by what they had pass catching wise. So I'm fascinated to see what this class looks like a year from now. It's definitely got the ability to be better than what we saw here this spring.
Wow, this was the lowest we've seen in years. I mean, it's just a horrible class. Ward goes 1, and any other year, he's not the top quarterback. Let's give me your assessment, because Zach and I have been talking about this, and we both just are over the moon with the pick. I know you are. You get a kid, again, that you got a 3-down linebacker, all right? You got a guy that you don't have to come off the field. You walk him down, and he comes off the edge like a real edge rusher.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the way that he plays. We talk about the physicality, the toughness from this defense here this fall, and especially down the stretch. You get into the postseason, just their determination to out physical their opponent on every single snap, and he represents that at a high level, Jihaad Campbell. And so I think regardless of whether you view him as an off-ball guy, if you view him as an on-the-ball player down on the line of scrimmage, I think that he is going to bring that element to this Eagles defense. So and that's something that they covet. It's been, when you look at the high picks, first round, second round, third round, since Nick Sirianni has gotten hired over these last few years, that has been a calling card of a lot of these players, is they're going to bring that edge to the field. And when I look at Jihaad Campbell, whether it's off the ball or he's got to see things a little bit better. He's only been playing the position for a couple of years. Or if you're going to say, hey, like down on the line of scrimmage, there is real untapped potential there, because he hasn't spent a lot of time doing that either, right? He has not played a ton of football in the SEC. So while there are some injury concerns, Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated put out, hey, he's got the shoulder surgery after the combine. He might need another procedure on the other shoulder. There's the concern about the knee. So, that's why he falls in the draft. But if you're talking pure talent, he was one of the top 15, top 18 players in this class. And so for the Eagles to get him where they got him at the end of the first round, I think was surplus value.
Yeah, big time. All right, today, so both you guys, how do you expect the second round to go? So I'll start with you, Fran.
Fran here. Fran's been studying these guys all year.
Well, I'm putting together a round 2 mock draft as I sit here. I think that we're going to see a handful of these rushers go off the board early, is my anticipation. I think when you're looking at some of the guys that are available, you look at Nick Scorton, Landon Jackson, JT Tuimoloau, they're going to start to go. Mike Green, certainly from Marshall, Donovan Ezaraku. You start to go, there's just a bunch of these guys that I think have the ability to come off the board in the early stages of this round. And now it's a matter of, all right, does that bump some of these other positions down? How early does Mason Taylor, does he go? If he falls into the middle stages of this round, we know that we have a feeling that the Eagles might like this player. How high would they be willing to deal up to try and get his services? Or, are they happy with an Arroyo or with a Harold Fannin Jr.? That will be fascinating to kind of follow here. I still think, look, they get a player that has that edge flexibility. Does that mean that they want to go a defensive tackle there? I know, Zach, you just brought up TJ Sanders and Shamar Turner. I think both guys would definitely fit here in Philadelphia as well. So there are a number of players on the board that have certainly piqued my interest for this football team.
What do you think, Zach? Do you think Howie, I mean, you do have next year a lot of coffers. You have picks in the coffers, right? You have chips to play.
Yeah, I think Howie can absolutely move up, right? And, the fact that I know he moved up last night, but he gave up a fifth. He really didn't. I think when you give up a third, that's when you're talking about the big sweetener. So I think the extra third round picks next year are what he could use if he wanted to move up. The player you would move up for if Mason Taylor is higher on your board at tight end, I think he's worth trading up for. But as you've said, Anthony, if you're comfortable with Fannin, then you don't need to move up for someone like Taylor. I tend to think, like I said, that line of scrimmage is what I'm watching. I'm watching D tackles. I'm watching some of these offensive tackles, and I think I don't want to say edge rusher would be a luxury pick, but I don't think the move last night prohibits them from adding an edge rusher, especially because Bryce Huff's not going to be here certainly beyond this season.
Right.
So you can continue adding to that position. So there were fewer edge rushers off the board than I expected last night. I mean, Ezraku is a guy that I really liked. He was on your
shocked he didn't go. Give me
Yes.
Green. I thought Green. I know the stuff surrounding him was pulling him down a little bit, but I had heard that a lot of teams gave him a green light, and I just think the way the board fell, the edge guys got pushed down. There was a big run, Fran. You saw it on all the O-line guys.
Yeah, and that was, it's one of those things, over the last couple of weeks, you have these calls with people, and one of the resounding themes was the offensive linemen, they're going to go, and that was, as I was putting together my mock draft that dropped yesterday, that's why I had Kelvin Banks going number 9 to the New Orleans Saints. That's why I felt like there were a few of those guys where I'm like, you know what, they're going to go. Everybody keeps saying that, so I got to make sure you plug them in, knowing that there's going to be a drop-off. There was a bigger drop-off on the O-line than there was for the defensive line. We've talked about the depth, whether it's on the interior or off the edge. So was not surprised to see that there was that run along the offensive line. And we know how this goes, guys. I mean, you guys have followed enough drafts where it is a game of runs, where you start to say, all right, where do those positions go? What does that mean for the rest of the board? What it meant for this year is that corners got pushed down. The pass rushers, those edge guys, they got pushed down. Because you've got all those players Landon Jackson on the board, Oladejo from UCLA on the board. There are so many players we haven't even mentioned that are still there, that are quality picks here. Braden Swinson from LSU. You just keep going down the list of potential round 2 talents here that we're probably going to hear their names called relatively early on Friday.
But if I took my reporter hat off and put my GM hat or like wish I was a GM hat on, then and you're talking about who you would trade up for. When I'm talking about trading up, what I'm looking for, other than the position part of it, is where there's a drop off in talent. And so I look at safety, Nick Emmenwar, and what he provides. He's a first round caliber player that if he falls into the 40s, let's say, then that's where I try to trade up, because I think he's a starting caliber player who could be, who at a position of need, who's clear first round value, has the athletic profile, the age profile, and the play profile that would intrigue me. So when I'm looking at trade up situations,
I'm so with you. Now, I don't think he'll be there in the 40s, but to your point, you got a lot of talent that's there. So, Fran, Zach's right. There is a shot that he does tumble a little bit. And I'm with you, Zach. I would jump up in a heartbeat and grab my safety there.
Yeah. If they ended up with Nick Emmenwari in the second round, Zach, I don't know. Maybe I'm doing like jumping jacks in the studio. The fact you get that kind of value, that's a coup for Howie Roseman and for the Eagles. I think that honestly for any of these teams that end up with him in that part of the draft. I remember speaking with a league source on late Wednesday night, and he was like, Emmenwari is going to go first round. There's too many teams that are high up in the draft. He's going to go first round. And so for him to fall, I know that was one of the most surprising names in some of the text messages that I've had with people last night and this morning. Like, I can't believe he's still on the board. Yeah. So my guess is, we're looking like, honestly, it could happen with Cleveland at the top. I'm looking around, some of these other teams there that are picking at that part of the draft. He's a Denard Wilson type of player for me when I'm looking at Tennessee. They pick at 35. I could see New England dipping into that. So there are a handful of teams I think would make sense for Emmenwari.
Yeah, without a doubt. Hey, Zach, how he tried to move up. I know he was trying to move up the Green Bay spot at 24. He was trying to move up to Minnesota spot at 25. The teams aren't rushing to go deal with Howie Potter. the wizard.
Yeah, well, so there's a few things there. I even think as high as the Chargers,
Yeah.
he was looking to move
Yeah.
up. There were a lot of moves in the 20s, so it depends too what the Eagles were willing to put in. I think the Atlanta trade might have complicated things as well. Like if you're looking to trade up to the 25 spot or 26 spot, and you just saw a team give up a future first, then
Yeah.
those calls when you're on the clock that you can hang up pretty quickly. You're like, yeah, that's a non-starter for me, right? Howie said when he was on the phone in the 20s, it was to get Jihaad Campbell, and
Yep.
if he is in fact a top 10 player, it makes sense why they would try to do that.
Franny, give us your biggest surprise. Couple of the things that really shocked you off of last night.
I went, Zach. It was after you left, and you went to the NovaCare complex, and we're talking about who could the Eagles be trying to trade up for, and that's when the Falcons, they trade back into the first round, they select James Pierce, and we keep rolling, and then the details of the trade come up. Someone just kind of mentioned, I forget if it was Bo or if it was Julia, behind the desk, and said like, oh yeah, they gave up a future first. I let out an audible gasp. It was like, oh, they gave up a future for one. Now I kind of got the sense down the stretch that they were very much into James Pierce Jr. I mocked him there at 15 overall for a reason, coming into Thursday. So I knew that the interest was certainly there. But to get after you select one edge rusher, you select Jalen Walker in the first round, to give up a future one to select the next one. Man, that was the most shocking thing for me, and honestly, the entire night. That one caught me off guard more than anything.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I was shocked by that. What did you make? Let's go around the division. Obviously, Giants get Carter, and then as Joe Shane's son predicted, they trade back up and get Jackson Dart. And for the people who don't know, Joe Shane's son put out on Instagram a video reel of Jackson Dart's highlights at around 5:30 yesterday, and then shortly thereafter deleted his Instagram account. What'd you make of the Giants, Frank?
Yeah, look, the Abdul Carter selection, that makes a lot of sense. You're gonna get that player, add him to the rotation there, and then as far as Jackson Dart. There had been a lot of the buzz, a lot of the smoke that they liked Dart. And that was Brian Dable's guy. A lot of the reporting, around the league was that was going to be the case. I personally don't see it. I personally don't love the move to trade up for. They didn't have to give up. They didn't give up as much as what Atlanta did to get James Pierce Jr.
Right.
But I still, I think that is a desperation move for a player that he's going to need some time as well. Like I don't think that he's a guy that's going to vie for the starting job right away.
Mm-mm.
Thankfully, I mean, they've got two vets there to take that on, but that one, the jury's out. We'll see if that one comes to fruition.
Zach?
Yeah, Dable said last night that Russell Wilson's going to be their starting quarterback. So, like Fran said, this is one they're kind of viewing as a project. There, to your question, Anthony. Number one, Shane's son, like Jaden Daniels last year, as we saw in Hard Knocks, so he might be a pretty decent quarterback evaluator. Number two, I need Howie's son to start putting out stuff, right? It'll help us with our reporting.
Hey, Cowboys go get Booker, also from Alabama. What'd you think of that pick, boys? Franny?
Yeah, I mocked Tyler Booker to Dallas in March after the combine, where it was like, oh, everyone was kind of dropping him. I said that he is a player that checks a lot of the boxes for the Cowboys. They typically have not cared about athletic profile. They like the big, physical, tough, competitive type of players, regardless of position. And honestly, when I got a sense that Ted McMillan could be off the board, I reached out to a couple of my Dallas sources over the last few days and was like, all right, well, are they really going to force the issue and take Matthew Golden, the wide receiver from Texas, or will they go with a Walter Nolan or with a Tyler Booker in that spot? Because I had heard them connected with a couple of those players, and it was kind of mixed results. It was like, I think they're going to force the issue. They really want a pass catcher. Whereas, and credit to Joseph Hoyt down at DLLS. He did an outstanding. He wrote a piece late this week where it could be Walter Nolan. Now, yesterday, Jerry Jones said in the post-draft presser that, we thought that McMillan could be off the board, or he said we thought that he didn't say McMillan could be off the board, but we thought that this situation could come up where we were going to have this debate, and it was about two players. And sources said it was down to Tyler Booker and Walter Nolan. I think it's a good pick. I like Tyler Booker a lot.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what those matchups with he and Jalen Carter are going to look like, because
Yeah.
I would imagine that he's going to step in at right guard. So this is the new Fletcher Cox, Zach Martin, battle year in and year out, twice a season. So that will be a fun battle to watch.
Yeah.
Of those two players, I would rather Walter Nolan, if I'm being honest. I mean, Tyler Booker, if he's a 10-year pro, a Pro Bowl player, it's worth it. But I think that's what it needs to be in order to take a guard that high.
Yep. And then Washington takes the tackle Connerly, Josh Connerly, the kid from Oregon, that you knew, again, all those O-linemen went. Fran?
Yeah. And Connerly, he struggles to anchor. The play strength is a little bit of an issue. It was the same thing for Sam Cosmi when they took him out of Texas, and it took him a couple years. We remember some of the low moments where the Eagles just went after Sam Cosmi, whether he was a tackle or whether he was a guard, and it was a bit of a struggle for him early on in his career, where he was starting to get viewed as a bust. Last year, the light turned on for him, and he was outstanding. It was after the extension. They said, yeah, we're going to pay this guy money. And he came through for them and had an outstanding year. But again, it took like 4 years for that to happen. That's kind of how I view for Connerly, where I think that he can be a suitable starter, but this is not a guy that's going to come in and be a dominant player in my mind right away. They are, because of Cosmi's injury. Cosmi tore his ACL, in December or January here this past season. They're going to need someone to come in and compete for snaps right now at right guard. So I'm interested to see if Connerly, how much he mixes into that equation.
Yeah, to me, I really like Josh Connerly, and probably of the three of us on the PHLY Eagles show, between Fran, Bo, and me, I was probably highest on Connerly. I just think the athletic profile at that position jumps out. He was productive at Oregon. He's young. I saw out of Washington, Cliff Kingsbury, wanted this guy going into the draft, and I think he does fit what Kingsbury does on offense. And Kingsbury, made a commitment to staying there this year. So I'd like to pick for the Commanders.
Yeah, interesting. Boys, what's your schedule today?
Yeah, we're back in studio at 6:30, and we'll be on throughout the night. We'll have pieces up on allphly.com as well.
Be a diehard. This is what you get. Gold. This is football gold. You guys slaying it, man. Just absolutely slaying it. Just love it. Thank you, boys. Great work.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
man.
Thank you.
There they are, Fran Duffy, Zach Berman. Great job.
They were beyond good. I mean, it's hard to describe how effective they are as a team. Their coverage is, and they're just fun.
Yeah.
They're fun. Bo does a good job as like a bark hand handling everything. They're good, man. They're real good together.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, let's take a quick TO, and then coming up, I cannot wait. You want to hear about what Baldy has to say. Baldy coming in right up. Cannot wait for that. Let's talk about Parks Casino, Street Road Bend, Salem, and it's the mecca of entertainment, headline entertainment. Thousands of hot slots, state-of-the-art sportsbook, beautiful poker room, all-weather beer garden, collection of award-winning restaurants. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Tickets on sale now for these headliners. May 16th, Larry the Cable Guy.
Get her done.
May 30th, country artist Ashley McBride.
Never wanted to be that girl.
June 6th, Kev Mo, Taj Mahal.
Woke up this morning, mama, had them Staysboro blues.
June 14th, Clutch.
Bang, 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 vamonos, vamonos.
July 3rd, Gary Clark Jr.
Here come old Flap Top. He come moving up slowly.
July 18th, KC, the Sunshine Band.
Do a little dance.
Dance. Make a little love. Get down tonight.
Woo! December 6th, UB40.
Red wine.
Comedian Russell Peters, September 27th. Brian Regan, November 22nd. Don't forget dinner and drinks before the show. Liberty Bell Gastro Pub and Beer Garden, Parks Grill Steakhouse, Bamboo Noodle House, and Chickies and Pete's. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. Gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And Rothman. In fact, we'll talk to our doctors later from Rothman Orthopedics. They have a doctor, a specialty in each in our backyard focused on all the body parts: hip, knee, spine, ankle, back, neck, you name it.
Yep.
Rothman Orthopedics, all right? Practicing specialized care for over 50 years. Their mission: high quality, compassionate, affordable care that's rooted in research, and that research leads to new treatments, better outcomes. All right, so you can do what we do, right? We want to stay active, and I could go and throw to my kid and go do everything.
I want to get out of bed. I want to walk.
Right. They are Rothman Orthopedics, and they specialize in you. RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY for an appointment today. This portion of the show brought to you by Rite Aid. RiteAid.com/PHLY for the store and pharmacy nearest you. Now, the one, the only, Baldy.
Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football.
Oh, Baldy. Legend himself, I will say around 3:30 yesterday. I'm texting with my man. What are you hearing? What are you thinking? What do you say? And the legend himself goes, watch Jacksonville. Jacksonville will be the big piece of the draft to fall early, and Travis Hunter. Well, lo and behold, the draft unfolds, and like Baldy predicted, Travis Hunter goes to Jacksonville with a big haul. Good morning, brother.
Morning, cuz. Morning. It was like a lightning bolt, that struck the draft there in Green Bay when that was announced, because Travis Hunter was, he was the prize of this whole draft and what he could do at the next level. And Jacksonville, who's got a new president in Tony Baselli, a good friend of mine for a long time, part of the, offensive line, fraternity. But James Gladstone, first-time GM, Liam Cohen, first-time head coach. I thought they needed to make a splash. They're an irrelevant team. Nobody pays attention to Jacksonville. They play 2 games in London every year. Nobody cares. They had to make a splash. And so they gave up a lot. Next year's #1 pick. They only moved up 3 spots. But I thought, and so I kind of was ruminating the other day, kind of wandering around like, this is when way too quiet. It's way too chalk. Everybody just thinks these mocks are, and I'm like, something's going to happen. So anyway, I kind of posted a 30-second video of me going, something's brewing.
Yes,
I saw. But I woke up in the morning, and what do I have but a text from Baselli? And he's like, so, we're picking at 5. Like, what do you know? I'm like, I know you guys aren't trading back. But I was sort of just throwing that at the wall to see how we respond, Like, I was like, all right, let's just keep this conversation going. I'm like, I know you're not trading back. And he's like, how do you know? I'm like, so anyways, I kind of fleshed it out a little bit. But, I mean, that was a pretty bold move on their part. And look, you can debate Cleveland, but Cleveland needs a lot of players. They got a really good player in Mason Graham. I've said this since we started talking about this draft, cuz at the Senior Bowl, like this was going to be a defensive line driven draft. And it was a defensive line driven draft.
Yeah, with some O-line mixed in, because a lot of the O-linemen went too. And I'm with you. People are ripping Cleveland. I go, I can't pass that deal up. You need players, and you're getting them up. You're getting a haul. All right, but before we get to the whole draft, because I'm going to go through the entire first round with you, and then look at today. Let's not bury the lead. Jihaad Campbell, Alabama, South Jersey, born and bred.
Yeah, Timber Creek High School, went to IMG. Look, he went to Alabama. Like, I'm pretty sure you could check on this. I'm pretty sure Clemson offered him a deal when he was 14. Yes. All right, I mean 14 years old. Like he's already being recruited. But he went to Alabama. Honestly, like he was a special team kid, and he was kind of coming up through the ranks. But he really made his bones the last 2 years because of his versatility. He's starting off the ball inside linebacker. I said at the combine, he's the best linebacker in this draft. You could take Jalen Walker. I mean, you could put him up there against some guys. I thought he was the best linebacker in the draft. You can blitz him. He can cover. He can run. Like maybe he's a little pumped up at 242, but he ran a 4.5, and people knew he was pumped up, getting ready for the combine. You know, he weighed in at I think he weighed in at 240, but he still ran a 4.5 240. It didn't slow him down at all. And I watched him warm up. I watched him run. I posted something last night. He just is a fluid, smooth athlete, man. So, look, I believe he's the first linebacker the Eagles have drafted since Jerry Robinson.
Yep.
From UCLA in the first round in 1979. Like, they kind of went against the grain, but Howie said, like, he was a top 10 player on the board, and he was sitting there, let the draft come to him, didn't feel the urge to go trade up for anybody, and he was sitting there when they drafted him.
Well, and therein lies the story. Like, no one expected him to be there. You know, not there, and that's why they started to try to trade up in the early 20s. They were looking at Green Bay. They were looking at Minnesota. They were trying to trade up to get him because they go, wow, my God, the value here is tremendous. Because look, you know, this is a Vic Fangio piece all the way, right? He's got such a value in that you don't have to get him off the field. He plays space. You walk him down. You're in your 5-man front. You walk him down. You just go get off the edge, and he's the edge talent.
And well, a couple of things. One, like I go back with Vic Fangio when he was coaching the Dome Patrol for Jim Moore in New Orleans, and he was coaching Sam Mills, you know, and coaching Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson. Like he's a linebacker-driven coach, and the role. I mean, this is like 1992 now, right? So, but they were. I remember just playing against them in a playoff game with the Eagles and having to deal with those guys, but. The versatility that he needs, it's not complex, but if you've got an elite tight end, you got to like take Zach Ertz out. He can take Zach Ertz out. If you need to spy Jaden Daniels on third downs, he's your spy. Like there's so many different ways that Vic can use this kid now, you know, and never come off the field and work him in combination with Zach Bond or even play Nakobe Dean and bring Jihaad off the edge. Like there's real versatility to his package right now. And that's what Alabama did with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this pick. I think this is such a great value pick. Now,
well, here's the thing.
You assume the shoulder's going to be all right because I guess that's kind of one of the reasons why he was there.
Well, look, he had the surgery after the combine. Torn labrum, I have no idea. What the recovery time is for any of this stuff, I don't know. So they seem to be okay with it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken him at that pick. So I don't know when he gets ready, but when he gets ready, sometimes you got to sit these guys for a while, make sure that they're healthy. There's no rush. They can start Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean next year. They're in good shape. But when he's ready, he's ready. I do think that there is something about your middle linebacker. When he's fast, it makes your whole defense look faster. Like they're going to look fast. They're going to play fast. And they're going to swarm. They've got, you know, when you look at, you know, Nolan Smith running a 4.38 40 and, you know, you got Jihaad and Zach runs good and, you know, what Quinion can do. Like they've got speed on their defense right now. And that matters because speed covers up any flaws. It takes care of great players. It takes care of athletic quarterbacks. Like it controls the game with the speed. You don't get the big explosive plays that everybody's looking for. You give up fewer and fewer of them.
Yeah, you look at your defense is set up now. I mean, my God. Like we talked about, you know, all year, a couple things. One, what Cooper DeJean gave you in the middle of the field, right, with his speed and physicality. And then you looked at how physical that whole front seven was and how teams would tap out. Now you just add another one of those pieces to that front seven, And look at that's a Ravens type of player. I mean, I that's how I kind of look at him.
Well, I mean, they value line. I mean, they just value linebackers differently than a lot of teams. I mean, they made Roquan Smith the highest paid linebacker in football a couple years ago. They had Ray Lewis for 17, 18 years. You go back. I mean, Ray Lewis was their second pick of their franchise history. With Jonathan Ogden in 1996. So they just, and that's just going through coaches and coordinators. I mean, they just put a great value. But I mean, the Eagles. Like, I give them credit because they've never put resources. They just paid Zach Bond elite money, and they just used their first-round pick on a linebacker. After drafting Trott, all right, drafting Jacoby Dean, suddenly, and I think Vic Fangio is a huge part of this because he saw Bryce Huff come in and he's like, what are we doing with this guy? Like, this guy doesn't play. He can't do the things that I need this guy to do. And so, look, you make a mistake, you eat the mistake, you move on. If they can get something for him down the road, they'll get something for him. But, you're good when you make a $51 million mistake and nobody even bats an eye.
Yeah, that's so true. All right, let's tackle last night. We'll go, kind of pick by pick a little bit with you, and then we'll look ahead to today, okay? Yeah. So the story, obviously, you talked about it, was the quarterback thing. We've talked about it ad nauseum. The Giants trade back up to get Dart, and then ESPN spent the entire draft talking about Shador, which, which, by the way, wasn't the story of the draft. The story of the draft was the quarterbacks weren't that good, something that you and I saw early on.
Look, I mean, it's not bashing a player. If you're saying if he's not a first-round talent, it's not bashing a player. Jackson Dart has a better arm than Shador. He's more athletic than Shador. Those are valuable assets. Now, can Shador be, like, if he gets, I don't know, like, I don't think this is going to happen today, but if the Raiders with their 37th pick today take Shador, it's a good spot for him. It's a good spot. He ran Chip Kelly's offense at Colorado this year. He can do the whole thing at the line of scrimmage. It's not that complicated, but there's tempo to it. And, there'll be machinations that change. But, I mean, just look at Jalen and what Jalen's done with as the 53rd pick. Like, it didn't stop him from being an MVP quarterback. Go to the right place. Like, if he went to the Giants or he went to Cleveland, he went to some of these New Orleans, like, these don't look like great places to go start your career right now. Now, they might turn things around, but they don't look like good places for quarterbacks. Like, sometimes these quarterbacks go to places where they're going to die. They're going to be a graveyard, all right? And they're going to get shipped out of there. Zach Wilson, Mitch Trubisky, like, these guys are overdrafted. Like, hopefully we stop doing this stuff, overdrafting guys. Like, he's a talented kid. He's smart. He can learn an offense. Is he going to win a Super Bowl next year with somebody? No.
No, I'm with you. I thought too much. He gobbled up too much noise in this draft. I think that was partly the ESPN piece of it. All right, let's go from let's start with Jeanty because we did the top five. Jeanty to the Raiders. You love that. You and I love Ashton Jeanty.
Well, look, Chip Kelly's running the offense. He comes to Philly. Chip comes from Oregon to Philly in 2013. Who leads the league in rushing? Shady McCoy. Right away. Like, he's going to spread you out to run the ball. He did the same thing with those two backs at Ohio State this year. Like, Chip is, like, Pete Carroll, I mean, going back to Reggie Bush at USC and Marshawn Lynch at Seattle, like, he wants a bell cow back. I mean, Geno Smith is going to turn around and hand the ball off to Jeanty 350 times this year. So it's a great pick. And, like, honestly, to these running backs, people can talk about the resurgence of the running back and all that stuff that we hear. And look, Saquon helped do that. But honestly, you run these backs until the wheels come off, cuz. Like, you don't extend them. You don't give them second contracts. You get him in the first round. You get 5 years. If he's really good, you get him on a franchise tag, and you get him for 6 years. Like, how many backs go at a high rate longer than 6 years? Not many.
You called Membo to the Jets. You knew that was going to happen.
I don't really look. What they want to do once and for all, Joe Douglas tried to do it, didn't get it done. Every GM that's gone through there, like, let's fix the offensive line. They had a glaring hole at right tackle. Membo's a right tackle. He's a talented kid. I don't love him. I like him. I don't love him, but I don't know what his upside is. Like, how are they going to coach him? Is he going to do what we see all these guys do with Stout? Are they just going to take the next step and then be incredibly consistent at what they do? Like, I need to see that. But the Jets, like, they've got Justin Fields. They've got one legit receiver. Like, there's not a whole lot there. They got a couple decent backs. But start with the line. Fix that. Get that thing fixed. That's what we saw in this whole draft. It's the theme of the draft.
Yeah.
Like, it's what the Eagles have always done. Like, win in the trenches. And this was a trench warfare draft. So they took Membo. It's a good pick.
Yeah, no, you're right. And we'll skip McMillan, who goes to Carolina, but Kelvin Banks, like the Saints, they were desperate. They needed to fix that line in a big way.
Well,
so
here's what happened. So 3 years ago, they draft Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. He can't play like, he's just too stiff. He's not. He can run fast, but he's not athletic. So there was a big confusion about running fast and all this nonsense. But they tried him at left tackle. It was a disaster. They drafted Fuaga last year. They put him at right tackle. Ramczyk gets hurt. It's a disaster. Like, they made a mistake, but the mistake never goes away. So now here you are with Kelvin Banks, who's a good player. Started every game at Texas. Played through an ankle injury this year, but he's a good player. So I guess we'll play him either maybe they play Penning at guard and they put Kelvin. They got flexibility because Banks can play. He can play guard.
I think he's going to play outside. I read that he's going to play outside.
Okay, so maybe he's the right tackle. I don't know. He's been strictly a left tackle at Texas.
Yeah. Were you surprised at all Bears going Loveland?
Yeah, I mean, look, I had Tyler Warren as one of my top 5 players in this draft, but I think they think Loveland is faster and more athletic, and so they took him. I mean, just based on that. But the production, I mean, Tyler Warren caught 104 passes this year.
Right.
That doesn't happen to tight ends in college football. Caught 104 passes, and he ran 24 Wildcat plays and scored 4 touchdowns. Running the ball. So I don't know. Like, he's more physical and bigger than Loveland, but Chicago values Loveland's speed and think he can be a good. And they're going to have, a 2 tight end set there at Chicago.
No, it's interesting. Niners, Lynch goes. That's a Niners pick. Williams going on Michael Williams right there.
Well, when I was at the combine, you're down there in the trenches. You're watching all these drills. There's Mike Tomlin. What do he do? Defensive line. There's Mike Vrabel. He's down there. What do they do? Go get a left tackle. And there's, you look at, what John Lynch was doing. John Lynch watched every single drill every day right there. Like, their defensive line fell apart. But this Michael Williams, like, his first step is ridiculous. He was playing as a freshman with Jalen Carter at Georgia, winning the national championship and all those guys there. Like, he got hurt this year and played through it. But I personally think he's the best pure edge rusher in this draft.
So the Cowboys, McMillan's off the board because everybody linked McMillan to Dallas. He goes to Carolina at 8. Dallas is looking at either Walter Nolan or Tyler Booker. And they go Booker and they get their guard. Do you like it for them?
Yeah, I do. Zach Martin just retired. He's a Hall of Fame right guard. You got to replace a Hall of Fame guard. Like, this is the best guard in the draft. He's my second favorite offensive lineman in the draft. When I went to OL Masterminds last year, the whole Alabama offensive line was there. He came up, introduced himself to me, and said, I'm a big fan, Baldy, whatever. If you have time while I'm here, can we watch one of my tapes and just go through it with me and tell me what you see? Like, this is an advanced kid.
That's awesome.
He's Trey Smith that Kansas City drafted 4 years ago. He's just a block of granite. It's all football. He's clean as a whistle. You never have to worry about Tyler Booker. He's a smart, big, strong kid. That kid is a good run blocker. I mean, it's a good, solid pick for him. It's not sexy. It's not what you could debate. Ted McMillan, he probably would fit in really good. But protect Dak. Go find a running back in the second round. Scatterboo. Go get a guy. You need a running back. I think it's a good, safe, smart move. Years ago, the Cowboys drafted Travis Frederick out of Wisconsin. And they got scorched. All he did was make a couple All Pros and about 5 Pro Bowls before injuries kind of caught up to him. But he was a great pick, and he was a great player.
So then Grant goes to Miami. They get their interior defensive line. The Colts get Warren, great value at 14.
Yeah. No question. Nobody thought he would be there at 14. We thought the Colts could easily take a tight end. They need to help their quarterback out a great deal. The offense line is pretty solid. They worked in 3 rookies last year that all end up starting for them. So they felt like they fixed the offensive line. And so they needed a weapon, whether it's Richardson or Daniel Jones, whoever wins that job there. Shane had Dallas Goedert here in Philadelphia. He used him. He knows the value of a really good tight end. This kid gives him toughness. He helps him in the run game. He could do some wildcat stuff. Like it's a real versatile piece.
And then the Falcons come in and they upset the apple cart with the big trade, man. I mean, give it up a 1 right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Atlanta needed some edge rushers. That's Jalen Walker is a guy that he's coming from Georgia. I mean, it's pretty easy to scout Jalen Walker. He's a freak athlete, but to come back in and get James Pierce in a trade with the Rams with the 26th pick, like that was they got their starting.
Yeah,
like I think Jalen Walker is an off-the-ball inside linebacker that can play off the edge.
Okay,
like he's not a polished pass rusher,
right?
But he is athletic as hell. So, but Pierce, there's some issues with that guy that made him drop, but he's a top 15 talent. I mean, to run a 4.47 at 250 pounds on a 6'5" frame, he's a natural pass rusher. Like he has a chance to be double-digit, sack guy every single year.
Arizona goes Walter Nolan. We said the Bengals we knew would take an edge. They go Shamar Stewart, who nobody looks better than Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, I mean, does he look like Tarzan, play like Jane? A little bit. Like he does have that, he does have that that thing going for him because he just doesn't make very many plays, but
right.
He tests great, he looks great, he does flash, but you just don't see the production from him. Now, we see guys like this. We've seen guys from Georgia like that all the time because they rotate all these guys through and they're not on the field that much. But he's got potential to be an elite player. You see the body and you see the explosion and the movement. It's all there. Now he's got to put it together.
The Buccaneers, interesting pick. Igbuka, who we both like, and look, they needed someone to play the Godwin role. I like that pick for them. Well, I was curious what you think.
Yeah, I mean, look, the offense is humming, and so Godwin got hurt last year. Jalen McMillan stepped up, but I mean, Godwin they signed Godwin back, and then Mike Evans is just running right to the Hall of Fame. Like it doesn't look like he's slowing down. Baker loves him, so he's got 111 touchdown catches in 11 years. They need like Jalen McMillan looks like he's a slot guy to me, and he came out of Oregon last year and really picked up the slack when Godwin got hurt.
Yeah,
but they're going to keep that passing game going. They're an 11 personnel team. They got a good tight end. The offense line is good. Baker Mayfield threw for over 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns last year. There's only 9 other quarterbacks in NFL history that have ever done that. They want to keep that thing rolling.
Yeah, I remember you on Baker saying, "Listen, Baker is going to be a player." You said that from the all that stuff that went down in Cleveland.
But the thing is, cuz you have to, like, I'm lucky because I was around Baker at Texas Tech and then at Oklahoma. Like, you got to understand how these guys are wired. Like this kid was a walk-on at Texas Tech. Him and his dad watched Oklahoma games every Saturday. His kids growing up in Austin, Texas, would drive to Oklahoma. Like when he got a chance to go to Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley, like he walked on. He walked on at Oklahoma. He walked on at Texas Tech. Like that guy has got fire in his belly. Like I don't care what anybody thinks about Baker. Like that guy's wired the right way to be great.
the Steelers get Harmon. I thought that was a good pick for Pittsburgh. They need some help in their interior D line. Harmon's good value there.
Well, Cam Hayward can't play forever.
Right.
So Cam Hayward came out of Ohio State, son of Ironhead. Like, he's in his 14th year now. Now, he's still a great player and a better human. He's been the man of the year, the whole thing in the NFL. But at some point, you got to replace him. So that's what he is. Look, I talked to the guys at Pittsburgh yesterday. They had 3 positions they were looking for. They were looking for a running back, wide receiver, defensive lineman. They had 4 guys at each position. So they asked me, to rank all 4 guys at receiver. I had Matthew Golden, number 1, blah, blah, blah. I had, I had the running backs, Jeanty, O'Marion, Hampton, blah, blah, blah. So, but they had Harmon ranked really high at defense tackle. I had him after Kenneth Grant. They loved Grant. If Grant was there, I think they were going to take Grant. He's already gone. So they went right down the list.
Yeah.
They weren't taking a quarterback. They were building their defensive line.
Yeah. And then to your point, Hampton goes next, and then Golden, great value for the Packers. They get Golden there.
Well, I remember Matt LaFleur last year, like ripping some reporter talking about who's your number 1 wide receiver, and he got real pissed off about it. He's like, we don't have a number 1. We have great receivers. Well, you actually need a number 1. Yep. You need a go-to guy. Like, you need a guy that no matter what you're freaking doing to him. A.J. Brown is a freak, all right? Like, the Eagles, they're going to him. They're losing to Green Bay in Brazil. Like, the second play of the third quarter, they go to him, and he beats Jair Alexander, and they take the lead. Like, you need a go-to guy. And you can have all the guys. Jaden Reed's a good player, and Romeo Dobbs, but they're not number 1s. This Matthew Golden has a chance to be a number 1.
Yeah, he made every big play at Texas, and when they needed him, he always stepped up at Texas. All right, today, let's look at what's there for you that you like, all right? Because now the Eagles are going to be looking, obviously, at safety, tight end, interior D-line, and O-line. That's the area I think that they'll concentrate. I still think I got a weird feeling that Fannon's the choice at tight end at some point where they go. But I'm curious to see what you like for the Eagles to look at circle-wise. And maybe, because you have all those picks next year, you could trade up.
Yeah. I don't know. If I was the Eagles, like, okay, you got your linebacker / pass rusher. The defense is set. You need an edge rusher. There's still plenty of edge rushers. Like, Mike Green is still out there. I know there's things in his background that, Howie's not going to love. So just take him off the board for him. But I don't think
I don't think he's off the board for them. I don't. I think he's.
Well, there's a couple guys. Like, look, they're at the bottom. It's hard. But, like, if Mason Taylor drops, like, to me, Mason Taylor in his offense would be, first of all, the guy's got crazy genetics, all right? Going back to his dad and his mother's side. They got crazy, crazy genetics. And he's a football player. He's a player. And you're compete with all those wide receivers at LSU, that come out every year. Like, this guy, if you could find a way to get Mason Taylor, the hell with the rest of the draft. Like, I'd give up a couple picks to go get him. But, that'd be one guy I'd be really interested in. Look, Xavier Watts at Notre Dame, the guy's got 13 interceptions the last 2 years. They need a safety. He's not the biggest guy, but he is a talented guy. So there's like the Makuba from Texas. There's safeties out there that might, be at the end of the second round.
Well, what's funny too, though? I don't know how long Eminwari will last, but if he's lingering a little bit, I think you got to be tempted to trade up.
Yeah, well, they made a trade yesterday. Like, why not trade today and go get a guy that you really love? That you need guys that can really push. You don't need developmental players at this point. You got a couple places. The tight end's one of them. Safety's one where you need a body. Defensive end. So there's plenty of ends still in this draft that are still good players that can come off the edge and help you out. Josh Sweat was a 4th-round pick. The guy was an incredible player for 6 years for him. Milt Williams was a 3rd-round pick. Like, there's there's plenty of players. There's a lot of depth at that position. Jared Ivey. I mean, you go through the list of guys in this draft that can come off the edge. So they're going to have their picks, but those two guys, Xavier Watson, Mason Taylor, like I'd keep my eye on both of them.
So later today, you're going to be on with Mike Garafolo on the NFL Network. Mikey is here. So let's get a little preview of the NFL Network.
What's up, Mike?
Right here.
How's it, buddy?
Because our man, this is great. The NFL Network is
Right,
all of
there you
us, right? It's Baldy and Mikey. It doesn't get any better than that. Good morning, Michael.
Hey, Baldy, you already there, man? You're making me look bad. I'm hanging out at the hotel. I'm having coffee.
Mike, come on, man. Like the sky was dark when I was rolling into this place today. This is the draft now. Come on. We've got Baldy's big boys to get. We've got Baldy's big boys to get ready for today, Mike. I'm just rehearsing here.
And Baldy's Big Boys was the segment of the day yesterday. Like they had me hosting it. I'm just like, why am I hosting? So he goes, I got it, Mike. I got it. He just takes it over and he runs for like 3.5 minutes of just amazing offensive line breakdown, and he was all over it. Will Campbell, Anvil for hands, like he was real like scout terminology started to come out. It was amazing. Anvils for hands.
Descriptive.
It was
The
unbelievable.
verbiage that Baldy uses is the greatest. Like, he's a wordsmith. Like, you and I as writers, like, I'm often impressed in a huge way with Baldy's word choice.
He's not just devilishly handsome, There's a lot more to Baldy than that.
Mike, don't go crazy. It's very shallow here. This is very shallow here.
We're gonna have We're gonna have some fun. We had a great show yesterday, and day 2 is fun because you get to look back and look forward at the same time. Break down everything. So it'll be on 1:00 Eastern on NFL Network. So definitely check us out there.
So 1:00 Eastern, we'll be watching for sure.
Because I got to jump off. I got to do something with the 49ers here.
Yeah, go ahead,
so
buddy.
let Mike handle it. All
All
right.
right, we'll watch it 1, buddy. All right, brother.
Okay. See you guys.
Buddy.
Take
There
care.
he is,
See you,
Baldy. Baldy and Mike will be on today at 1:00 on the NFL Network. Cannot wait for that. So let's talk about last night and just your overall kind of thoughts about what went down.
From the Eagles standpoint, or from the whole
Start
thing?
league, and then we'll get into Jihaad Campbell and the whole thing.
Yeah, it was. We had the trade in the top 5, and then didn't have trades until the Giants were looking to come up for Jackson Dart. And I thought, despite that, the way that we started, I think it really did fall kind of the way we projected as far as the clusters of guys and who was going to go where. There weren't a whole lot of like, where did that come from?
Right.
Picks like that. So I thought it was I thought it was going to be more unpredictable from that standpoint, because there's this plateau of guys they talked about. Like after the first 4 or 5 picks, all of a sudden, depending on who you talk to, because there was teams that had like 14 first round grades on guys. So usually that leads to like you get these random, we thought that guy was going to be a 3rd rounder come into the 1st round. Didn't have a whole lot of that. So sort of predictable draft. The Shador thing, when Baldy and I and Steve Weiss were talking about this on air yesterday, I said, we said, how many quarterbacks in the 1st round do you think? And I went with 2. And I said, and I'm not sure Shador is going to be one of them. So I want to back my colleague, Tom Pelissero, who has been just getting pounded by people that are making, not just people, journalists in this business that are making accusations about him and calling it what he's put out about Shador, calling it racist. That's been tweeted. It's racist. And it's not. It's factual, well-documented reporting that he's done. Now you could argue about should he do the anonymous source quoting or whatever, but the information was that this guy is not a high 1st round pick and could possibly quote unquote slide. Now Tom defended himself on air today. We saw it play out last night. We saw it play out with Shador Sanders last night. There are a lot of questions about him. There are a lot of not off-field questions, but the way that he handles himself at the quarterback position is not the flavor for a lot of folks. Like that's not what they want in the quarterback. And I think that's why you saw what played out last night and what could play out again today too.
Yeah. Well, also, by the way, he just doesn't project well. I mean, he's projected as a backup. I mean, you look at what he does. He's not overly athletic. He's a pocket guy that doesn't have an elite arm. I don't know. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
This is not a surprise, and I feel bad for Tom because I know he's a terrific. I've known Tom for years, and you know, I mean, he's a great journalist.
Well, you know, on top of the football stuff, you know, Shador went into some of these interviews and was like, you know, your system doesn't suit me. Well, I guess it's not the system for me. And instead of being more flexible and more open, because it's a lot of times what you want to project in these meetings is, you know, are you coachable? Right? Are you coachable? That's what they want to see. And when you come off the way that he did to a lot of teams, they come away saying that's not what we want at that position. I don't. He could still be successful. You know, he can get in the league. He can use this as a chip on his shoulder. He could play. You know, when you talk about arm strength and some of the stuff that he does, I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, get him with a dome team." Well, let's say a team like the Rams. He's in a dome. Sort of, it's an open air, but it's a dome, and he's playing in a warm weather division, right? Like, you get in a situation like that, and he could develop. I'm not saying he's never going to be an NFL quarterback, but the way that the draft played out, not a surprise based on all the conversations we've had with those that have been doing the analysis and getting ready for the draft.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not a slight that a player doesn't go in the first round. I mean, you know, mean, it is what it is. Where do you think he goes, or when do you think he goes?
Could be third round. I mean, that's when the Steelers have their pick. Could be third round, but then you're going to get yourself into, you know, teams that don't necessarily have the need, but go, well, we've got a potential first round talent that we could take in the second round here. So that's going to be the conversation for a lot of teams. And maybe Pittsburgh says late second, we come up at that point and get ourselves. But I know that Pittsburgh next year, the draft is in Pittsburgh. Which is sort of, you know, they're not making their decisions based on that, but I know that they're stock, and they also think it's a stronger draft next year, which is correct. So they're trying to stockpile capital for next year. So for them to come up into the second round, that's why I said maybe him in the third round, because for them to come up, I don't know that they're going to spend the capital to do that.
Does Milroe go before him?
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. I think Tyler Shuck and Jalen Milroe. Shuck could go to the Saints today. And Milroe could go. You know, there's a Tommy Rees connection in Cleveland, and they have 2 picks early. My predictions: they probably go running back with at least one of those 2 picks. Could be Travion Henderson to start the second round tonight. We'll see. I mean, it's still early in the day, and hearing some conversation about that. But that'd be my early prediction on who the first pick is going to be in the second round.
Let's go Eagles for a second, because the way the draft worked out, it really played in the Eagles' favor. The board fell perfectly. They didn't expect Jihaad Campbell to be there, which is why they tried to trade up. Right when it was the Chargers, it was the Packers. They were Minnesota. They were trying to trade up to get him there, and then he fell all the way down.
Yeah, and they gave up a fifth to move up one spot, just to make sure. At that point, you've got so many picks, you can't use them all. So you just say, well, we gave up one of the fifths just to make sure that we get our guy. And I did the homework years ago, and I'm sure it still plays out. 5th round picks, because it's like teams weren't willing to part with 5th round picks in trades for players. And I'm like, let's go see what 5th round picks, how they play out. And it was 50-50. It was a coin flip as to whether the guy would even make the roster his rookie season out of training camp. And beyond that, it's like, you know, the following year, how many guys are even left in the league. So to do that, to get a guy that you're comfortable with, and we're comfortable with the medical. I know a lot of teams were too as well. I heard that coming in. I figured he would slide. I didn't know that he would go all the way to the cusp of the first round. But it was just the reaction on social media. And we had a guy who's a 49er fan I was sitting next to in the NFL Network newsroom last night. And he's just, they're going to take him. They're going to take Campbell. I can't. No, don't even. And then he hears it on the pick line. He goes, "I cannot believe that they let these guys keep getting away with this." And he's screaming, "I hate this team so much."
That's right. And the richest get rich. Isn't that what our man Jihaad Campbell said? It was great. We love him. A local kid. He lives 20 minutes from where he's from, 20 minutes from where I live. He is he's a terrific kid. Listen, it's a great Fangio selection. You know, I mean, it fits their defense perfect. You know, you got a guy with such great versatility, and he could play in space, and you walk down and play off the edge. I mean, you know, other than the shoulder was what?
The shoulder, it's a labrum. Yeah. Now he might start on the PUP list, you know, but whatever. I mean,
who cares?
You're not drafting your guy. First of all, the first quarter of the season means very little anymore with a 17 game season. If he misses that, you know, I mean, he's gonna be a pup to start training camp. Whatever. Like that's not. The question is long term. And again, long term, they don't have great concerns about that. And it's, you know, it's a linebacker, a shoulder, fine, whatever. But you know, it's not like he's doing a lot of reaching or a quarterback where he's throwing. It's fine. A lot of guys have labrum surgery and are totally fine after that.
Yeah, I just think it was just a home run pick. Their defense, man. Wow, their defense is going to be nasty again.
And you know, look, this is 1, 2, 3, so 5 SEC first round picks for them in the last couple of years. Am I counting that right? 1, 2, both defensive tackles.
Right. Nolan.
Who?
Nolan Smith.
Well, no, I'm talking first round picks. I mean, listen, you want to go Landon Dickerson and Nolan Smith. Now you're talking about all these SEC guys.
Nolan was at the end of the first round.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. That's 5 and So I listen, drafting the best drafting the best conference in college football. You know, you're setting yourself up for success that way, and the two programs that have, you know, been dominating college football in recent years. So I like the. Just getting a notification. Tom Pelissero just tweeted out his 4-minute defense of himself on Good Morning Football, which is good. Go check that out after I'm done here.
I love it. We will certainly do it. All right. What do you expect today? How do you expect it to kind of go today? There's so much there's so much talent. I mean, it's like every other draft, but this is kind of the sweet spot that we were talking about in this draft. This portion of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that are assessing their board overnight and saying there's a lot of talent. Like these are guys that are going to be impact players immediately. You know, obviously, if you take a quarterback at this point, it's not going to be, and that's going to be weighing on teams that have minds at this point to, you know, do we want to do that or we want to get that impact player right away? But there are a lot of good players left at a lot of good positions, and I think the running backs is going to be really interesting because I think you got different skill sets for these guys depending on what suits your system. I mean, anything from Scatabo to Henderson to Bayshall Tootin, local guy there, who's got the breakaway speed. I think you're going to see him go 3rd round today. So I like this running back class. The running back is back. Thank you, Saquon. Thank you, Derrick Henry. That makes it fun again. I remember, I think it was the Eddie Lacy year. Eddie Lacy went 2nd round.
Alabama.
That was the first year that there was no first round running back for like 25 years or something like that. And I remember writing at the time, will there ever be another first round running back? And of course we had, Saquon and all these guys now. So I'm glad that the running back is still a huge element of the draft. I think it's going to be today.
When we were kids, like you go back and these drafts, like you would have 8 running backs, 9 running backs go in the first round. You remember that, VG?
I mean, listen, go back to 2005 or 6. 3 of the first 5 picks were running backs. It was Cedric Benson.
Another Texas kid.
Cedric Benson, Cadillac Williams, and Ronnie Brown. It was like 2, 3, and 5 were all running backs.
Oh, my God.
Now, none of them really panned out. I think that probably hurt the running back for years to come. But that was, I mean, that was
Yeah.
three of the first 5 picks.
Well, Andy was ahead
running
of that.
back.
I remember him saying, no value there, no value in backs.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and that was the system, and that was the philosophy that, but now you've got teams that are going back to feeling like that's a big part. And Ashton Jeanty in Vegas is going to be an absolute home run.
A beast. I love Jeanty. Yeah.
And for what Pete Carroll wants to do, I mean, at
Kelly's
that point
offense, he's right. Like
Yeah.
Baldy said earlier, you spread it, he'll spread you out and run it.
Yeah.
Like that's what he does.
Yeah.
It's a simple offense. And Jeanty, there's no one better after contact. I mean, I watched all his film. Well, I love watching the kid play those Boise games. That Boise team wasn't very good. Okay line, right? And the offense wasn't that good. It was all him.
Yeah, and he is great. He can do it. He can avoid you. He can wrestle his way through an arm tackle. I mean, not even an arm tackle. A straight up, guy thought he had him wrapped up, and he's just fighting his way through. So he's a terrific player. He's a great kid too. Looking forward to seeing that match for him. And I know the agent who signed him. His name's Henry Oregon, and this is his first huge client.
Oh, cool.
And I think he grew up in the Bay Area, I believe, and he's a Raider fan growing up. So this is all his dreams come true. So I told him I'd give him some love. Henry Oregon signing Ashton Jeanty. Yeah.
What do you think Scatterboo goes? He interests me. I love that. You can't find a better performance than that playoff game where it was all him. All they did was stack the box against him. He's dehydrated, throwing up. And all he did was bring Arizona State back in the game. Was unbelievable. I love him.
Yeah, and you're gonna. I mean, listen. When we have the conversation about him today, there's going to be teams that say the measurables and the athletic ability are not there for him to be taken as a day 2 pick. But somebody is going to go, he's a football player, and we're taking a football player. He doesn't have the breakaway speed, which is fine. I mean, you're not going to ask him, not ask him, but you're not going to expect that of him. And the things that you're going to ask him to do are going to be more in tight space. And he'll go, I think, 3rd round. And I don't think he's on the board when we start the 4th round tomorrow. So I think where does he go?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my as far as the actual team. Matter of fact, I talked to his agent the other day, and he's like, dude, I have he goes, I can give you a list of 10, and he might not be on there. The team that winds up taking him, because you don't have to do a lot of homework on the guy, and you get to the 3rd round, it's hard to project exactly where he's going, and teams are lying in wait. So I think projecting where he goes is going to be a tough one. But I think it's going to be one of those where whoever takes him, you're going to go, oh god, that makes perfect sense.
You're right.
Whether it's
right.
it's just a team that's just good about drafting really good players.
How did the tight ends fall today? Right, because you got Mason Taylor, right?
Yeah,
you got
I think Taylor goes quickly.
Yeah,
I think Taylor goes quickly. I do.
And I think if I'm betting the Eagles. Fannin. I'm curious to see what you think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Today they go tight end. And is Dallas Goedert on the roster after this weekend? Coin flip, Ant. Coin flip. I think. There are teams that were trying to get a tight end in the 1st round that didn't get one. That I think now are going to explore the possibility of trading for and extending Dallas Goedert. So I'm keeping an eye on that one today. Mark Andrews is another one too, by the way, that could wind up moving. I would say Goddard more likely than Andrews to get traded in the next couple of days.
Where do you think Nick Emmanwori goes? I mean, you gotta. I love him, man.
Yeah.
Is there any way he lingers? Because if you're the Eagles, you trade up and get Emmanwori.
That would surprise me. I think he's going early today. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the teams right off the bat that need safety help at that point. Maybe, Cleveland's got the 2 picks, but Cleveland could be a Mason Taylor spot, because they've got 1 and 4 in this round here, so they got 2 picks, bang bang. And I know running back and tight end is 2 of the positions for them there. So yeah, I don't know, but Emmanwori is just considered a really good football player, by a lot of people. So I don't think he's hanging around very long today.
No. Do you expect a lot of moves? Do you expect today to be kind of more explosive?
From a moving up and down standpoint?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a little bit of movement today. And we didn't see it in the first round. I thought we were going to see, I mean, we saw late a couple of teams with the Giants and Jackson Dart. Giants really like the fit for Jackson Dart, by the way. Daboll loves him. Like that was the driving force there. Was Brian Daboll and the way that he locked in to him early in the draft process this offseason. Really vibed with the kid, and so they I mean, listen, I don't know that it could have gone any better for them last night.
Well, you get
Carter,
yeah,
and to get their quarterback. You know, if these guys get blown out and fired after this year, it's not for lack of trying this year. I sent a text to somebody. I was like, should have had the Hard Knocks cameras this year. Would have been a much better. I mean, listen, it would have been
Joe Shane's son.
Yeah,
who tipped off the pick.
It's funny. One of the better posts on X that I saw yesterday was because he was hitting them for Jaden Daniels the year before. He goes, Jaden Daniels and then Jackson Dart, get this kid a GM job already. Which he's a good quarterback. Joe Shane's son, Carson Shane, is a quarterback at Don Bosco. So you know, maybe he'll be in the draft process one day.
Yeah, wow. What'd you think of the Cowboys, Booker?
Yeah, good pick. I mean, I think Tet McMillan, if he was there, would have been a guy that they would have considered, but obviously didn't get close to there. Which to me, Dave Canales in Carolina had Mike Evans in Tampa Bay, same kind of guy. You know, he's not gonna run away from you, but he doesn't have to because he can make the catch while being covered. So good skill set there. So I think Tet would have been in play for the Cowboys, but otherwise we thought offensive line for them, and it held true. And you know, Booker's going to be a terrific pro for 10 years, and going to be like, that was such a Cowboys pick, and it works for what Brian Schottenheimer wants to do.
What did the Jerry stuff where he was talking about making a big splash?
He's just we checked in on that, and we were told just to mess with you guys. That's what Jerry's doing. Literally just to create conversation.
That's
just to create
beautiful.
Conversation. Yeah. So we knew going in they were not going to make a big splash. They were going to stay put.
All right. So what? That's beautiful. 1 o'clock today. You and Baldy.
And Steve Weish.
And Steve. Give Steve my best, man. When Steve was in Miami, I think he was at the Herald when I was at the Post, and I used to love to talk to Steve. We used to go out down there.
Steve's been a lot of places, Atlanta as well. Steve's made his bones.
Yeah, he's a good man. My brother, listen, we love you. We'll be following you all day today and tomorrow. So keep up the great work.
You got it, man. Enjoy the draft. I love the fans' passion for it, and even into the second and third day of the draft. And we love to have some fun. Have some fun today.
Thanks, buddy. There he is,
all
the
right,
great
pal.
Mike Garafolo. Right here. Now, VG, you want to hit us up with some of our friends?
Yeah, I would love to talk about our friends over at Empire today, because every room starts with a good floor. You got to have a good floor in the room, and just like your favorite team, you got to get that home court, home field, home flooring advantage. Empire Today is there to help you get it. Empire Today is flooring experts, dedicated professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've been to the big box stores. You want to find some flooring. You want to see what the durability is, whatever, but there's no one in the department. If there is someone in the department, they don't know what they're talking about because they're not flooring people. That's why Empire Today, they got you covered because they live and breathe flooring, and they'll be with you every step, making it a whole game changer for you, stress-free pretty much. And they bring a virtual designer to your house, take a picture of your room, you pick out a couple flooring samples, and you can see what it looks like in the room with your furniture and your coloring to see if it matches. And with Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation the next day if they got your flooring in stock. So schedule a free home estimate today, in-home estimate today, because things are just better at home, right? PHLY listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code PHLY. That's right, $350 discount with the code PHLY. Restrictions do apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHLY for full details. And if you're walking around town, you notice trees and flowers are blooming and low prices are blooming over at our friends at Ashley Furniture. Ashley. Bring in some savings at Ashley. You can save up to 50% off living rooms, bedrooms, and dining rooms. You have it all delivered for free. Plus, long-term, no-interest financing. You can also save on top brand mattresses and get free delivery setup and the all-important removal. But don't wait. You got to spring into savings now at Ashley, South Jersey, and Philadelphia. Financing with approved credit, of course. Minimum purchase required. Some exclusions may apply. See store for complete details. Hurry over to an Ashley store or visit ashleyfurniture.com to get in on some savings.
Oh, I gotta love it. Ashley Furniture. What a day today. So much fun, man. I love this draft stuff. This is the best.
Nobody's got football coverage like we do here at PHLY.
Yeah, it's
that
awesome.
lineup today has been ridiculous.
You got the best of the best, man. You
Here
got
he
everybody.
is, Danny D, the AD, my main man.
How we doing, guys?
What's up, my
Danny?
brother?
How we doing, big dog?
Good.
What
VG,
you
good
think
to
last
see you.
night?
I loved it, man. I thought it was a great pick. I mean, everything I was reading was, he's top 10, top 15 talent. So when you're the champs, you just go best available, right? I mean, go get talent. It's local ties. Timber Creek kid.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
And by the way, like how great that you get a kid that can play in space and then you can walk down and then be a legit edge guy.
Yeah, I think that might be something they're thinking. Maybe they put him on the edge and, figure it out. We got a great medical staff. It's kind of like Landon Dickerson. Like he had injury concerns, right? He kind of fell a little bit, but was like uber talented.
Yeah.
Another Bama guy, uber talented.
Oh my God!
People
I mean,
are maybe
look,
scared.
you're getting those kids. You're getting Bama, Georgia. You're getting the SEC.
You want to see a cool snippet of video, man, of him matching up with Jackson Dart for a second?
I would love
wow.
it. I would love it.
Let's get
Might
it.
be a little helmet knocking off.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did this last week.
Oh, man.
Damn.
Is this the top of Campbell's head?
Oh. Yeah, he lit him up.
The helmet goes flying.
Oh my!
Love it.
We're going to see that again.
Yeah,
We'll
twice
see that
a year.
again. Twice a year is right.
Love it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it. We're going to be going into overtime. Stay with us. Get comfy because we got lots to do. The Brain will join us in a couple minutes. Danny is going to look at the future of the draft, some of our futures.
Yeah, man. So we a couple local kids. Like I was telling Anthony the other day. Obviously Abdul, right? We played against him in the Catholic League guy. Started when we played. My first couple years at the prep. I'm like, we playing this out. Like, what's the game plan, man? What's it looking like? Just trying to talk to coaches. They're like, block 22. Like we
Try to block 22.
We got to get bodies on them. Like the offense, whatever else we were gonna do, as long as you got bodies in front of him, that was the offensive game plan. It's pretty simple because he was that much of a game record even in high school.
Simple, though.
No, it's not. I mean, but
Block
the game
22. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Grab them, tackle them.
Whatever you got to do.
3 guys on 22, and everything else will take care of itself. So elite talent in high school and dominating.
I love it. I love it. So you got stuff coming up. It'll be great. So hang tight. We're gonna have we'll have TV Todd as well. You love the TV Todd.
I love
segment.
TV Todd.
I
Man.
know you
Who
do.
doesn't like TV time?
I know everybody does. We are in overtime, and that's what it is. Let's go to the brain. No brain. Oh, Danny first, then the brain. All right. Well, Danny's going to hang with us though. But go ahead. Let's start with some of the guys. Then.
So Carter, obviously big
Right.
time, right? And absolute stud, game wrecker, local kid. LaSalle product. So Jamie's probably hype about that. The bro.
The bro.
LaSalle's getting a guy in the NFL. Now, they
He's
have a
so
couple
worried
of them.
about you. He's so worried, and nobody's happier that you're going to Penn Charter than the bro.
The bro.
Who has the prep. He's got prep envy.
No, it's all good, man. Well, they had Zaire Franklin. They're getting a couple NFL guys now, so
Yeah.
it's good. And then obviously Kyle McCord, I got to know him very well. Great kid. I know you got to talk to him. Phenomenal kid, hard worker, humble. Anytime he was home locally, he would reach out to us and be like, "Hey, can I get in the turf? Can I get them?" Like never days off when he was home. Can I lift? Can I throw? So always coming back around to the community whenever he was home. So
He's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Like we see the quarterbacks get pushed and pushed and pushed, and even today, you don't know where it's going to. You think maybe Milroe goes. We're talking to Mike Garafolo earlier that maybe Milroe goes, end of the second round, somewhere in the second round. Who knows? He's talking about Shador going in the third round.
Wow.
Right?
That might be one of the biggest falls.
Right?
I mean, from the top 3 to the third round?
Yeah.
That would be crazy. But, Kyle, yeah, I've talked to, like, agents and people who were involved in the process, and Kyle has a wide range. He could go as early as, like, late second, but he could also go in the 5th round. Like, it's just an unpredictable draft, and there's a big window, but I think whoever gets Kyle will get a leader, someone who can play and be a player in the NFL. I really think that. I mean, I was telling you the other day, his senior season, it was shortened because of COVID. We finished 3rd in the country at the prep, 3rd overall.
3rd in the country.
We punted 3 times that year. I mean, we went for it on 4th
I actually
a bunch.
tweeted that out because I was so blown away by that nugget.
I mean, when he was in the game,
3 punts.
Yeah. So we would take him out in the
season.
3rd or 4th quarter. We would take him out because, we would be up. But, I mean, he was playing with Marvin. I mean, he's playing with NFL. He's an NFL player. Both Trotter brothers will be NFL players. They were both on the team.
So that's 4 with Marvin Jr.
And then there's Samir Hagans. He's at Duke. Had a hell of a season. He could be a pro.
He'll be an NFL. That's 5 NFL players from that team.
There's some younger guys that are in college now that are freshman, sophomore. That could be NFL. It could end up being 7, 8 NFL players, but if you count like the freshmen that were on that team by the end of it, which is crazy. They were unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, I saw him make every throw in high school. It looked like a cheat code in one of the video games. Like he would just darts down the field to Marvin, Samir.
I remember hearing a story about he was getting recruited to, I think it was Michigan, and he was like in 7th, 8th grade. That they were he was getting heat back then.
I believe it. He's a elite person, but also a phenomenal football player.
Let's see what Schefter. The Lions have exercised their 5th-year options on Jameson Williams and Aiden Hutchinson. That makes perfect sense for Detroit. You got to do that. What's it like draft wise around the prep? Like, because I mean, this is the culmination. This is the end game, right? Like for many kids that choose a program like St. Joe's Prep.
Yeah, every year
it's about the draft.
Cool. It's been cool. It kind of blew up when Swift came back to the Eagles and then Alameda and we're getting all the buzz. And then the following year, Harrison goes top 3, top 4 pick. Trotter goes that draft, right? And now it just keeps going. Every year there's another guy that steps up. I think next year the next Trotter he'll be draft eligible. Josiah, he's at Missouri now. I think he'll be in the draft next year. So it's kind of crazy, and we're very proud of them. More as individuals for what they've become and what they're doing in the community stuff. But it's really cool to see them achieve their dreams, right? Their dreams. You meet these kids when they're 13, 14. What's your dream? Go to the NFL, right? And that's 1% make it Division I. 1% of that make it to the NFL. So it's like you got to win the lottery. So for us to see that happen is truly special. It's really cool.
It's got to be. I mean, the type of program, I mean, that you guys built, I mean, it's every bit of the elite. We talk about all those elite programs. How many of them are in the country? Like 15 of them?
Yeah, there's probably 15 programs.
Do you even count IMG because it's?
Yeah, you count them in the mix.
It's kind of a not really a school.
It's a factory, but
right.
Nah, I mean they're in the mix every year. They're top 10, top 15 teams. Yeah. So then you got like Aquinas and American Heritage and Chaminade. They're like the big Florida schools, and then you have like Duncanville in Texas, and you have Mater Days and Bosco, and then you have the teams out in Vegas. So it's like Florida, Vegas.
Yeah, what's the Vegas school? That's another Catholic school, right?
It's driving me crazy.
And Mater Day's the one in California. There's another one in California too.
Yeah, Duncanville's the big one in Texas.
Yeah.
There's a couple big stores in Georgia. Georgia has a couple big power usually that's flirting in the top 25. But yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy. It's like four or 5 states that kind of dominate the
Bishop Gorman.
Bishop Gorman. Yeah. Good job, VG.
Google's all right.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Bishop Gorman. Yeah, discussed with their AD to try to find a game. It's just tough out in Vegas, like trying to find a middle ground or moving that far across country for a game is tough because it's like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, you got to. It's tough.
Yeah, so when you're traveling 5 hours on a plane.
Do you ever see a situation? Because what's going on in college, and we'll get to the brain coming up in a minute. But what's going on in college? Right now, the states have laws, right, that you can't play in any tournaments nationally after the state tournament, right?
Yeah, so once your state tournament ends, that's when the season's over. But that also goes, like, for PHLY, it goes to the second week in December. So there's really not any wiggle room either because of how long it runs.
Is there any way to do a national – when does the national tournament for high school start? Because at some point – that makes sense.
I think if
there was always the big 33
eventually.
game between.
They still do that.
Yeah.
They still do that. They still do a lot of the All-Star games. I think it will come down eventually, just trickling down from how these power conferences are coming. And they already do it for basketball. There's already like a national tournament. Now, there's most of these teams that are not involved in state associations are in it. So it's like the IMGs, the Mount Verdes, the Spires.
Right.
These big time that just play national schedules. But I see it coming down the line for football. I just with how everything's changing with NIL and these power conferences, and but with football it's different. Basketball you can do it in 4 days.
Right.
Football you need 3 weeks.
Yeah.
To try to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know how you find the time within the schedule.
But I think someone's gonna try to figure it out. Someone's gonna. I think it's just gonna come down the line. Maybe they start December 1st. So again, if you're a part of state association, it'll be tough, but.
Everything's going to have to move, right? Like, so in other words, like you're going to have to start the season in another week or two earlier in August.
Yeah, if that happened, if they moved the start date up and there was a little bit more free time in end of November to December, you could probably do it. And if they could host it in Florida, right? So weather wouldn't be an issue. They could host it in California, Georgia.
By the way, once you have that, there will still be playing in stadiums.
Oh yeah. But I do think it's great. It's a great point. I think eventually it will come down the line. And then lastly, I actually had Anthony. We're talking about local kids. Jihaad was on the list to talk about, and then
isn't that nuts?
Yesterday, and then when they drafted him today, so
we were talking about it. I mean, I didn't expect him to be around.
No one did.
No,
I mean. I got a cool video. Well, we'll go to the brain. I got a video.
All right, let's get brain up here, and then we'll go back to it. The one
brain.
Red, the brain finder.
What do you say there, brain? Good morning, buddy.
Man, you know, haircut, brain. Looking tight.
Good morning to you guys. You know, it's interesting. I actually got sent information. The one player I actually got sent information on was Campbell, that he was going to absolutely plummet in the draft. That was a guy to get his under, which I was able to get I did it yesterday, nothing on it. But basically that he was the guy who was sliding. Don't be surprised if he doesn't go in the first round. And so, yeah, that turned out to be accurate, obviously. But you know, well, so I think it was health concerns. I think was
shoulder.
Part of it from what I was told.
He
so that's. I don't think it was anything to do with
combine. So that's what they were talking about. But I don't know. I mean,
his over/under was 18.5. I bet under or over 18.5. So obviously 18.5 to 32 is a massive difference.
Yeah. No, I'm surprised he lasted all the way through. I know they are. I mean, you know.
Well, they had him ranked.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to ask you guys a question because I was reading about this. Brett Veach was talking about the trade, and he's like, obviously, we were going to take the offensive lineman. We had no interest going defense. We were going to go offensive lineman the entire way. So I guess that's just me assuming, the guys, that they thought someone else was going to go to Kansas City and snatch him at 31. Is that what Howie was thinking?
And you had to trade up earlier. So when it was the Packers, they were talking, the Chargers, I think, and even Minnesota, they were trying to make deals. And, you know, so it just makes sense to go, listen, I got all these fifth-round picks. I can't use them. So let me just make sure that nobody else comes in and offers the Chiefs something. It wasn't about just Kansas City.
Get a player you love.
Everybody knew Kansas City was going to go, had to go O-line in that spot.
Right.
I mean, I was joking with Spags yesterday. I was talking to him, and we were joking. I go, good luck getting a player, you know, on your side of the ball.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah,
Howie
right,
calls
exactly.
Like, listen, Andy, we know the way we beat you up. You need O-line. We're not taking an O-line. How about you just trade us this? We'll give you a fifth.
Yeah, I mean, they have 4 5th rounders, so
Yeah. You can't use them all.
you
so,
can't use them. Man.
You know, you can't take them with you,
Yeah, exactly.
as the old saying goes.
Seemed like a win-win. It's funny. Very rarely where things like that work out for a team where the guy they rank that highly, right? They have him in the top 10, picking 32. That's like really a very, very fortunate thing that they got a guy they personally like that much. To be able to get him at 32 is clearly a gift.
Yeah, big time, Brain. Listen, I don't know what you thought, but I thought the Jacksonville Cleveland trade benefited both sides. I liked it from both sides. I thought Jacksonville got their guy, right? Like, you know, he's from there. You build a franchise around the kid. The kid's a lightning talent, right? He's going to play corner. You'll mix him in at receiver. He's going to be the face of your franchise. That's Travis Hunter. And then Cleveland got, you needed, that's a bounty that they got for him.
I thought, Anthony, again, to me, for this trade to work out for Jacksonville, I'd almost have to say Hunter has to become a Hall of Fame player, which maybe he will. I mean, I know he's highly regarded as any guy who's come out in a long time, so maybe he just will be a Hall of Fame player. But I thought usually you don't see a team give up this much for a non-quarterback, right, Anthony? For a non-quarterback, I can't recall if I ever remember seeing someone pay. Basically, they gave up, in essence, what?
Well, you got to go back to Herschel Walker.
Right, yeah, well, Herschel Walker,
Ricky
that
Williams.
obviously would remember that worked out. But they gave up basically an extra number 1 and an extra number 2 to move up 3 spots. Look, we'll see. I mean, obviously Hunter seems to be all that in a bag of chips, right? He seems to be an incredible player. But man, I always say again.
But you know what you did for them? I think it went beyond just team building. I think they needed identity, right? Like they needed, like they were, like when you think Jacksonville, they're probably the lowest. Them in Arizona are the lowest, teams in the league. Like nobody. First of all, they ship them out to London, right, to play that in London a couple times a year.
Very true.
So here you get this kid from, Duval County. What is it?
Duval.
Duval County. Duval, right? So you get the kid, right? That's the face of your friends, and now all of a sudden you matter. Now all of a sudden you go to London with a swag. Like I got Travis Hunter.
It's kind of risky, though. I mean, your first round, you just finished the 5th worst record in the NFL. So next year, I mean, you're banking on being hopefully.
No, you're Cleveland. You go, oh man, this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely liked it for the Cleveland side. The Jacksonville side, again, he better be great is what I would answer to that. But he should be. I mean, he certainly should be. I get it. But I thought that was a lot to pay to get him. And, it's interesting. And I'm kicking myself. I am kicking myself. I told you I really don't bet the draft anymore, really, for the most part, because the limits are so small. But it happened to be one of my sites. They had big limits on something. And the guy I was following was my favorite player in the draft, for better or for worse, was Jeanty. That's just the guy that I liked. I bet the Raiders over. I was hoping he'd go to the Raiders. And he was getting 6-1 odds to go to the Raiders. And everyone and their grandmother had him going 5th to Jacksonville. And I'm like, Jacksonville, go for him. I don't see it. I don't see it. But I'm like, I got psyched out by everyone. And then I saw McShay goes, the Raiders have no interest in Jeanty. They will definitely not take him. That's the one thing I know. That's what he said. I'm like, all right, I guess these guys know more than me. And then that trade happened. As soon as that trade happened, I'm like, man, Cleveland's picking 5. They're not taking a running back at 5. I'm like, Jeanty's going to go 6. And he did. But look, it was an interesting draft. Again, it was good to see some of those big trades like that. And it was interesting to see. And Anthony, you called it yesterday. You said, watch for Sanders to fall. Did you read the thing, guys? When he met with these teams, there was some game, I can't remember what it was called, where he had a board game out. And he would refuse to discuss football. He would only talk about this board game about like wheat and land. I'm not lying. I can't make this stuff up. Like, you actually can Google it and you'll see it. There was some game.
Settlers of Catan.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
And he brought the game.
It is.
And he's
What is the game?
He walked out saying, until you're serious, he walked out of the room saying, if you're not willing to be serious, I don't want to talk to you. Again, I don't know if that stuff's real or not. I don't even know if it's humanly possible that someone could be that aloof to do that. But man, if that's really the case, man, I take back what I said. I don't know if it is the case, but
that's nuts.
I mean, if you go into a job interview with that, you get what you deserve.
There's a bit of entitlement. I mean, hey, one of the things that that teams look at, and you know this when it's college, NFL, is the parents. Like that's a big deal. The parents and what the parents are, because that gives you an indication what the kid's like, and
they say that that's a fabricated story going around online.
Oh, okay. It makes me feel better because I'm like, this can't be. But then I was reading it and it was on multiple sites. But I'm like, man, no one, I don't care how arrogant you are or whatever. I don't think anyone, unless you were like Michael Jordan, like you knew you could do anything you want and they're still taking you. But I was reading this and I'm like, man, are you kidding me? But I know you said yesterday's show, you heard that he was really falling. And wow. Yeah, if you had told me 2 weeks ago, or even a week ago, he would not be in the first round, I'd be like, okay, sure. You obviously you don't know what you're talking about. Because I thought he was
a couple of weeks ago that Dart was going to go. You remember I said that the Dart was going to go ahead of him.
Mm-hmm. But also to your point, Anthony, like if you're not going to play him right away, it's a headache, right? So like, with the show that all comes with it, right? I mean, that goes into it. Like he could be a distraction if he's not going to play right away, right? His dad and everything. So like, that's a lot of baggage that gets considered in these processes, right? It's a big deal. And if you don't see him in the vision for next 2 years, it's like,
right,
it might not be worth the headache.
And
no way, man.
And what he can be, like brain, like again.
I gotta say, when people say his ceiling is Andy Dalton, some people are like, "Oh, Andy Dalton would play." That doesn't excite me.
I'm not taking that in the first round.
Right, you go, well, I got Andy Dalton, the red rifle.
Right.
I mean,
VG, I agree. How did Andy Dalton get considered so good when he was the most? He's the guy when you have on your team, you can never do well.
No, right?
Why?
Mediocre at best, right? Like you're like a wild card team at best.
People don't realize, right? Like there's some, again, I don't know if it's recency bias or whatever. I have no idea. But Andy Dalton was a disaster in the playoffs. Like in Cincinnati,
the worst. I think it was 1-7.
Yeah. Do you remember how bad he was? Like he was awful. So people go, it's not bad value, Andy Dalton. Yeah, it stinks.
Fourth round pick, I'm in for Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
It's like having a baseball starter say, my ERA is 4. Isn't that wonderful? It's not the worst.
We're looking for 4 out of Nola.
I know.
I mean, it's not getting you World Series wins. Yeah. I mean, the Andy Dalton, it's so funny you say that, VG, because Andy Dalton, again, was weirdly got treated like he was some, like, really good player when you hear some people talk about him. And I'm like,
they were saying
watch Andy Dalton play for 12 years, had a good career. And then
who cares?
Right?
Who Andy Dalton?
Yeah.
I know.
I mean,
Andy
he made a lot of money. I'll give him that.
Right. With a stage dad.
Yeah.
Stage dad.
Like, you want to deal with that?
Yeah, I mean,
how would you like? Because not only it's funny. I heard from an agent friend of mine that he said, "Listen, the kid is a good kid. Like he said, the kid's a good kid. He goes, the dad's the dad, right? You got to deal with that, and then you get the brothers." And he goes, "The kid is a good kid, but there's a lot going on there
for sure."
And he was trying to be delicate, but he was basically telling you that, Deion's a gigantic headache, which we all get.
Hey, I will say, EEN in the chat is mentioning, and I saw it last night. Gray Zabel did have Settlers of Catan set up on a table last night on the draft cam at his house.
Really? What is the game?
Is that really true?
So you know the game?
Yeah, I've played a bunch.
Really? What is it?
You start with a small settlement, and you have to try to grow a kingdom. And in order to grow your kingdom, you have to trade materials, goods. A lot of that goods are like stone, clay, forest, so you get woods, all that stuff. And it's
sounds amazing.
It's a good. If you like strategy,
sounds like Andy Dalton of games.
Yeah, it's a good strategy game.
It sounds like if you like the Renaissance Fair, you'll dig Catan.
So the Green Bay Packers back in the day, in like the early 2000s, they used to play it in the locker room because it helped them like mentally prepare for the game. Because it's based around strategy, so it's all like a strategic thing. So
it's a board game?
It's a board game, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you can find it in any board game store.
All right.
Yeah.
It actually doesn't. That sounds decent.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of expansions. You can bring in the Vikings. You can bring in
Oh,
ship
yeah?
battles. You can do all the
There's
fun
no
stuff.
dragons, is there?
No.
Okay,
At least
good.
I don't think so.
All right. Because everybody's got thrown a dragon.
You like the dragons?
No.
I'm not a dragon guy.
No, everybody wants to throw them in.
Well, they're powerful, I guess.
Guys aren't dragon guys?
No.
I'll tell you what, after you got on about not knowing about that movie you brought up, he had all the details today, man. Andrew stepped it up, man.
Well, he knows. This is his
dialed
wheelhouse. He's not watching sports. He's playing dragon.
Playing board games.
Catch the dragon.
I'm a big nerd at heart. So
Yes.
I know all the nerdy
He's
stuff.
watching
That was a great description. I understand it.
Of SWAT. What's it called?
Sold.
What's the game called?
Settlers of Catan.
Catan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Called him Babe Ruth.
Puts on his wizard outfit.
Yeah, right.
No, but
Exactly.
that
That's
doesn't,
Dungeons and Dragons.
right.
Come on.
That doesn't sound bad. I have to admit.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun.
I can see that. I can see
How long does it take to play? Can you finish a game in an hour or two?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah, I don't like the games that take days.
It's not like Monopoly. You know, you're not sitting there for 3 days.
Okay.
All right, look at that. You get to build your thing. It's like there you go. It's like Risk, right? But in a different.
I remember Risk.
Yeah, Risk is a great game. I love Risk.
Sure, Risk.
Yeah.
That's great. Seinfeld episode where they had the
Do you remember Sorry,
Jerry's house.
Anthony?
What is it, brother?
Remember the game Sorry? Sorry?
Yeah, what
Sorry?
was Sorry
It's like
again?
you push the thing, right?
Yeah, you got the dice in the center. You click the thing and the dice roll.
Yes!
And you move around with the little pegs.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not sorry, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
put and the
It
thing.
jumps up.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
you're
it.
right. That's Sorry. How about that?
I don't know. I'm looking at a
Little
board
board
game.
game
It's been a while
action.
since I
board
played
game
it.
is sorry. Where's this thing at? You're talking about?
I don't
Sounds
know,
like you're not a board game guy.
I hate board games. I'm so out on board games.
Man.
Hate them. I have
Yeah,
so
I
many
haven't played a
friends who are
board
like, "Oh,
game."
come over for a game night." I'm like, "What game we playing?" No board games. Nah.
Oh, there's so many good games,
Nah.
man.
I'm with you, VG. VG,
Nope.
I'm with you.
During COVID, we did cranium.
I haven't
I
done
think
it since
the
I was
cover would be
probably 8
electric
years
I'm
old.
okay with cranium.
You gotta like.
I like
What's
You
cranium.
gotta act,
What's cranium?
you gotta like act. You gotta like hum a song. You gotta draw. It's a bunch of little
Yeah,
different things.
you need a bunch of
But-
Oh,
talents.
that's him, right?
Yeah, Cranium's a good one.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see him doing
I think
that.
I would love to watch you play that. That would be that could be a TV
Have
show.
Coach
I would.
humming some songs.
Oh man, that would be electric.
Electric cranium. All right, Brainium. What are we looking at? How'd you guys do yesterday? I think you guys did well, right?
I went 1-1.
No, well, no. This was easy come, easy go. Had a great night before it. Yesterday was brutal. 0-4. Two of the losses were very, very vicious. Not that anyone cares. Should have gone 2-2, but the Nationals won nothing in the fifth inning with 2 outs. Give up 2 runs, so I lose that. And then in the fifth inning, I have the under 4.5 in Arizona, and they give up a 2-out home run to lose to make it 5 runs. So it happens, but got 4 things today. I feel pretty
How'd
good
you like
about.
the
BG, you
basketball
wanna
last
start?
night? The OKC coming
Did you see
back.
the ending of the Knicks game?
No, I
Did you see
didn't.
the end of the Knicks
No,
game?
I'm a drive.
Did you hear what happened? Well,
No.
let me tell you what
I had
happened.
no
just real
idea.
quick.
It
What
was
happened?
crazy. It
Really?
was crazy.
No, it was
I was
actually
so drafted.
honestly.
Yeah.
The NBA is very lucky that nothing bad happened, because this to me would have been the worst all-time ending in the history of sports. I'd go that far. 2-point game with 0.5 of a second left. No timeouts for Detroit. Okay. So Brunson's at the line for a second free throw. Obviously, you're 99% favorite to win, clearly, regardless of whatever happens. But if he makes it, theoretically, he could throw the ball. They get a Christian Laettner play, a half second. Theoretically, it's happened. It may be 1 in 100, but it's better than 0 of 100. If you miss it, there's no way you can get the rebound, gather from 94 feet, and make it, right? It's 0% chance. So anyway, he misses the shot on purpose, and the buzzer went to 0 and sounded before the ball was touched by anyone on any team. So what the officials did, like, okay, we're going to give the ball to Detroit out of bounds where they can actually set up a play.
Wow.
Because there was a clock malfunction.
Hometown
Now,
cooking.
again, the chances of it happening were still 1%. But again, 1% things do happen sometimes. I can tell you. So and they didn't make the shot. But man, can you
Did they
imagine
get a
a game
shot
that would have been
off?
over?
No, it was a bad inbound by local kid Jalen.
It was a
Duren.
bad inbound. That's
I don't know why
really?
they had the center throwing the
Yeah,
ball.
why is he? Yeah, why would you have Jalen Duren
just
throwing it in?
Got to get Grant Hill. You
Yeah,
got
it
to
was
get
crazy.
Grant Hill.
Oh, my
but
God.
The point being is it gave it even a chance to ruin the game where the game would have 100% been over. So, I mean, that would have – and then there was actually right before that, did you see that Brunson looked like he went over and back?
He did.
They
I
didn't
thought
call
he did.
that.
I thought he did.
Yeah, they
You
were
were
really
watching
upset.
the
Detroit.
game?
Back and forth, man.
Really?
Commercials. I love basketball. So
Yeah.
Two
You
screening.
are.
Yeah,
You're a
you,
hoop head.
you just came down on the whole meat locker chart here. Your
I mean, commercials,
just got
man.
suffered a little
Commercials,
bit.
man.
It's like
You gotta
having a
multitask.
bad loss.
And I see you in that hat. You look like Nick Sirianni. Am I crazy?
I got the beard, I guess. I don't know.
Beard, I think a little. No,
Put
maybe
your
I'm crazy.
glasses on.
I
Put
think
your glasses
Sirianni
on.
kind of look.
Italian.
DDAD.
Got the Italian, beard.
Yeah,
Brain needs his glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, us Italians look alike, Brain?
It's no Sirianni's a good-looking guy. It's not. That's a
no.
compliment.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. That's a compliment.
Would you make it a hockey?
Well,
Wild.
it's
How
funny.
about the Wild?
Toronto. Yeah, well, yeah, and then the Blues won too easily. Toronto won I didn't understand why they were that big of an underdog against Ottawa, and they won in overtime 3-2. By the way, in the NBA, the Clippers, they're going to be. It's going to be an interesting series them against OKC when that happens. It's going to be a very, very interesting series.
Before this started, I love the Clippers. They were one of my teams.
Yeah.
Clippers
they won
and the
by
Kings,
a zillion yesterday.
I think I think the Kings are live too.
Kawhi's on.
Kings obviously up 2-0 over
He's
Atlanta.
unbelievable, Kawhi.
When he's himself, he's a top 3 player in NBA.
He
He's
is.
unbelievable.
It's funny.
Harden's
They talked
playing
about.
well.
I was reading something. They go. He's the one superstar. When you lose to him, you don't even hate him because he's just like he doesn't brag. He doesn't.
No.
He doesn't not flashy. He's not
No.
annoying. He doesn't flop.
He doesn't
do anything to him. You're just like, man, I wish he was on my team. Other than that, right?
You guys been paying
I mean,
attention
he's not a guy you hate.
No.
The Battle of Ontario heating up. A lot of controversy going on now. Because Stolarz the other day, former Flyers goalie.
Dude, a Flyers reject goalie is
won the cup with the Panthers.
It's unbelievable. Anthony
Bobrovsky,
Stolarz.
every goalie we've ever gotten rid of, we've always have goalie issues here. When they go somewhere else, they flourish.
It's nuts.
Well, Stolarz was just crushing. I forget. Greg was near the crease, just crushing them, right, hammering them. And now they're doing a thing with the pregame stuff, where the Senators are shooting down at Stolarz in the warm-up at the end. And I just saw this morning, the NHL's investigating now this They don't like the pregame stuff after that Flyers.
The Flyers
incident.
Canadians, man. That was the ultimate.
Yeah, they don't like this Ontario battle and the pregame shenanigans, so they're looking at
That was one of the greatest. You remember that? It was the greatest thing
It's
ever.
one of the greatest sports memory of my life.
I know, because it was on TV.
Yes.
So do you remember this, Brain? So it's Flyers Canadian. I want to say 86, 87.
Right around there.
It was right around that time,
Okay.
right? So they get into this. So
It's Claude Lemieux.
yeah, he shot into the open net, the Flyers end, which is a no-no. And
Yes, I did. Yes.
Anyway,
After warm-ups, he was shooting.
and it was a bad.
And it started a huge.
Well, it was
Yeah.
Chico Resch.
Well, Claude
and
Lemieux was
Eddie
the all-time
Hospital.
agitator.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Chico Resch stood out. He would not leave the ice
Yes.
until Claude Lemieux left the
Yes.
ice. And then Claude left
Yeah,
and
that was
Chico
great.
left. And then Claude came back out
Yeah.
and shot it. And then Eddie
Yeah.
Hospodar, I think, came out. And
Wow.
Pre-game brawl.
Pregame brawl.
It was
That was great.
unbelievable.
It was like a
Dude, guys are coming out of
Hershey
locker room.
Bears
They're
game.
coming out in shorts.
Hershey
Yeah.
Bear
It
fan
was
game.
unbelievable.
They're in shorts
Before
and
the
like
game.
shorts and sliders. They're
They're
coming out of the
hooping.
ice fighting, dude.
It was the greatest thing ever. Pack roaches in shower shoes
Yes.
after doing karate.
Karate.
It was unbelievable. It was the greatest
The
thing
referees
ever.
are not even ready for the game. They're trying to come out and stop
That's
it.
electric.
And,
right?
you know, back then I think it was a Prism game, but it was on TV. Like you're watching this
That was great.
25-minute brawl before the game. You're like, oh,
It was
my
great.
God, it was the best.
That's wild.
And you should have a thing of most disappointing Flyers goalies because that could be a good list of what you thought they'd be versus what they were.
Yeah.
Guys like Brizgalov, Van Beesbrook. I remember when they got Van Beesbrook. I'm like, okay,
the Bees.
finally solved.
Yeah.
And then, to his point, goalies were great before they got here, and then they became real average.
Yeah.
I mean, Prishgalov was like the best goalie ever.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Dude, man, then he wasn't.
Lost it quick.
Humongous. The universe is humongous.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got today, buddy?
Got a couple things. Here, let me bring it up right now. Okay. Casey Mize, who's pitched really, really well, guys, for the Tigers this year. Number 1 pick in the draft. Sometimes takes guys a few years. He's pitched great this year. Going against the guy who I went against last time in the Reds game, Brandon Young, is second now Major League start. Did not pitch well against the Reds. Again, Orioles continue to get A-level respect. I just don't get it. I really don't. I think the Tigers are the better team. I think they have the better pitcher. At a pick, I'll take them at home against Brandon Young and the Orioles. My first bet.
What do you got?
Tonight, I've got over in Phillies Cubs. Taiwan Walker on the
today.
mound. Yeah, today.
Today,
yeah,
really?
Enough said.
What's the weather like? I know the brain knows.
Well, let me bring up the total right. Well, it's probably the wind's probably. I think it's blowing in. I believe. Here, hang on for 1 second.
Mike,
it is. Yeah,
Mike
the wind is blowing in.
in.
That's why the total is so low.
Sorry, has cards you draw. Trouble is the game with the thing in the middle.
Yeah.
Trouble.
I just read that.
Oh,
yeah.
trouble. Yes,
Okay.
trouble.
2 words
yes.
I know well.
Yes. Well, and anyone who bets and under the Taiwan Walker's in trouble.
Very good.
I'm gonna go next.
In. You sure you want that?
Yeah, I want it. 8.5.
That's why the total's so low. But it doesn't have to be a home run. You can just get base hits off Taiwan Walker, right?
Well,
the Phillies can't.
I think the Phillies are going to come out hitting. Over. I'm happy.
I agree with this play.
Stop trying to talk me out of it. I like this.
Ray's not a great pitcher.
Look out for you, buddy.
I agree with that side.
A Taiwan
I
Walker
think both
start
teams
8.5
hit 4
is
runs.
crazy, though. That's a crazy low. I mean,
I know. But the wind, man.
Yeah.
That Wrigley, I've been there.
That's how they do it.
I used to cover that. It's amazing how it affects the game.
It does. Well, that's why the total's so low.
Yeah, I would feel
you're
like that'd be
getting
like a 10.
2 bad pitchers, but you're getting the weather in their favor. So that's the trade-off. I usually try never to take Colorado games in Coors Field, no matter what. But I'm breaking my rule here. The Rockies just never win. They're going to win. They're going to be like the White Sox of last year. They're on pace to win about 30 games. I'll take the Reds at a pick. Abbott's their second best starter. Abbott's pitched great 3 straight starts. I just think the Reds, I'm not trying to be whatever. I have a team that's going to win 80 games and their team's going to win 35 games. I'll take my team and a pick 'em.
No, I like the Red Sox today in Cleveland, or tonight in Cleveland.
You got Bo Sox.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got?
I'm going to get 2 in the NBA.
Okay.
Kyle Kuzma has not played well as recently, but as bad as he's been, guys, he's averaging 14 points a game for the Bucks. He got nice minutes his last game. His first game, he'd never seen this in the playoff game. He had all zeros. He played 20 minutes, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks. Got called out by the great Doc Rivers. Did have the last game, I think he had 12 or 14, but he played 32 minutes, which was encouraging to me. At home, guy averages 14. He's still getting the minutes. I say he goes over 10.5 points, as much as it's painful. I'm going to do it.
All right.
I got 1 in the Premier League tomorrow. Chelsea Everton over 2.5 goals.
VG touching it all.
You like
man.
that?
Are you undefeated in the Premier League,
like
VG?
that, yeah.
He knows. What's that? He knows his EPL. The Andrew's an EPL man.
Mm-hmm.
I do, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
I'm going to go Donovan Mitchell over 4.5 assists. He's averaging 5.7. He's 23-7 his last 30.
Didn't you take that
Had
before?
it last time at 1.
I smell a 3 spot.
Yeah, I did, and he got 6. Again, I think he should get this. This is one off. It should be 5.5. I took over 4.5.
Who you like in the games, boys? Celtics, Orlando. Who you like? 4.5.
Well, again, obviously you're not going to. There's no Tatum. There's no Tatum. Let me bring up the line. I think it's sitting at 4.5. Let me double check that. It is at 4.5. I mean, look, it's a tough game. I think it's the right number. Lean Boston, but again, not a game I'm personally betting. I do lean Indiana against Milwaukee. You can take 5.5. I know everyone's going to like Milwaukee, the zigzag series down 2-0, but I just think Milwaukee stinks. That to me trumps the zigzag theory.
I agree. I'm with you.
Giannis is out this summer. He's another man to get traded.
Yeah.
He's
I
out.
see it. You're right.
He don't want to get
I
out.
like Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, yeah, I'm on the Minnesota side. They're only laying 3. Lakers, are all in game 1. But you know what's funny? Minnesota fought back in the second half of that game, which I found encouraging. They didn't win, but they at least made the Lakers sweat it. Laying 3 at home, I definitely 100% am on the Minnesota side. I thought the line would come in at 4. It's at 3, so you are getting, at least on my numbers, a point of value. But I do agree with you, Anthony. Minnesota, I think, does win that game.
And in the hockey, Caps, Canadiens.
Look again.
I just don't think they have enough in Montreal.
Yeah, I mean, look, they did a great job to get into the playoffs.
They're young.
It's around a pick, right? And to me, again, I don't buy into that. And this is why, again, I like
Home
Toronto
ice.
hockey yesterday.
Yeah.
Was I don't buy into the home ice. So I have a
I agree
Toronto
with
team
you.
that's clearly better than Ottawa. I have a Washington team that's clearly better than Montreal. And I say to myself, they're up 2-0. Does that mean that Alex Ovechkin's not going to try? We're up 2-0. I don't have to try. I just don't.
No.
I don't see it. I don't think he's like, all right.
And the way
whatever, let's
Logan
just mail this
Thompson's
in,
playing,
we'll
it's
move on.
ridiculous. So
Yeah, and again, I think I have a team that clearly was the better team all year. Again, you don't have to lay any odds. Like I think I have the better team. I'll take I do agree with you, Anthony. I think Washington wins.
Carolina Devils, Carolina's much better.
They are, but they're laying a significant price. If I had to play that, I'd be on the Devils side, but I'm not betting it. But I'd be on the Devils side.
And the last one tonight is Edmonton, the Kings. I'm telling you, these Kings match up against Edmonton.
Yeah, they do. They do. And again, to me, this is a 50-50 kind of game. But again, this is the kind of game, Anthony, in the past, like right now on the Park side is plus 114. This game
Not enough
defines the
for you.
difference of hockey now versus 10 years. I would get in the same game 7-8 years ago, I'd be getting plus 155, maybe even plus 160.
Right.
Now I'm getting plus 114. So it's been and you say, well, that's a huge difference. I can't lose when I'm getting plus 160. I can't lose. It's impossible over the long run. Plus 114, maybe they do go 6-5.
Right.
Okay. They go 6-5. That's $1.20. I actually do lose, but if I'm getting plus 160 on a plus 120 game, I'm still winning. So that is the difference on why it's now, in my opinion, a lot harder with hockey.
Interesting. That's good stuff.
Fran, you got a big lunch today coming up? You look all clean and red hair's gelled up, ready to go. What's happening?
It's funny. I went out last night to shut up! Don't stop it. I went out to like some function, like
Oh yeah.
So I had to get dolled up.
What kind of function?
Yeah, what's the function?
No, I was.
Come on, man.
And you're getting
Was it
interrogated.
big
right?
charity soiree?
It was nothing like that.
The fashion show? What are you doing?
It was like, friends. Like, it was a charity fund. It was a
Yeah,
charity
did you dress
venue,
up?
so it
Did
was-
you have a dress up thing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If there's a photo of it, I'll embarrass myself, Anthony and VG, and send it to you. But Queen V was looking good. More
Of course.
importantly, so-
Well,
we know that.
She's a beauty.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there we go. So anyone next to her looks good.
Well, my brother, you have a great weekend. All right,
Appreciate you
pal?
guys.
Good luck to you. We'll
I'll
be
see you guys
chatting.
Monday. I appreciate you guys so much. Be good.
You're the man.
Cool.
See you, Brain.
Can we do these videos real quick?
Yeah,
And then we'll get
sure.
to Todd?
Then we got Todd.
All right. I just want to show Howie celebrating. And I love these words when he's happy and they hug up each other. They fist bump.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. He's clapping. There's this big hug. He pats Jeff on the chest a few times. Like, yeah, we did it. And all the fist pumps.
Howie season, baby.
Say
So now I'm a big Mina Kimes fan. I think she's very knowledgeable about football. So she was going off
saw this
on the
video.
pre-show before the draft started about Jihaad Campbell and how she was like, man, if he slides, look out. Like,
really?
yeah.
She was sick about the Eagles getting him.
Well, that's later.
Why is she sick?
Hold on, wait, watch.
He has that.
Ooh, I get to talk about my draft crush. Hey, Ryan knows who this is. Jihaad Campbell. Oh my God. Oh, the linebacker out of Alabama. I think he has everything it takes tools-wise to be one of them elite linebackers in the NFL. The athleticism is the first thing I'll point out. True sideline to sideline range. The closing speed, pops. He's got tremendous wingspan, and it shows up in zone coverage. He's always getting in passing lanes, interfering with the ball. And then he's a good pass rusher, too. Explosive first step. I believe he started as a pass rusher. Now, there's things he can improve upon. I think he's got to play a tick faster to the run, gets fooled a little bit by misdirection, but that will come in the NFL. Look, he might fall because he had the surgery and there's injuries and whatnot. I'm telling you, a few years down the road, if he falls, we're going to look back on him and say, how on earth did he fall?
Look at that.
Mina's on
There's
it.
a video of our
Very
last
cool.
talking
So
about that.
now, like, she's hanging out with our boy, Kevin the Gandhi, and the crew
Oh, the
are
Gandhi's
watching
fired
the
up about it.
draft.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is the one I
happens,
saw.
And the Gandhi is gloating, and Mina is hate. She's like, "Why of all teams?"
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, she was sick about it. It was great.
Yeah.
The Gandhi was in
The
the story.
Gandhi's loving it.
He got sick of.
Come on, we'll take the linebacker.
He got pictures on everybody.
I'm so happy. Listen, the last 4 years he's nailed it.
Look at him.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
At least we got a tackle to pick him up on blitz. I mean, a guard.
Mina,
Talk yourself into it.
Mina, who was the pick that you did not want the Eagles to take?
Mina, you know.
I said
20 minutes ago, you're like, the Eagles are going to
if
somehow.
Jihaad Campbell somehow falls to the goddamn Eagles.
It's Howie season.
My favorite.
It's Howie
Low-key
season.
my favorite player in the draft, dude. Low-key my favorite player in the draft. It's infuriating. Absolutely infuriating.
Kevin with it. It's
Oh,
Howie
I
season.
love
love
it.
it.
Kevin's the best.
Oh,
Way to
that's
go,
amazing.
Kev! That's fabulous. That's absolutely fabulous. I love it. We're gonna get Mina Combs on.
Oh, she's
We'll
great.
get Mina
She's
on
good.
to gloat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be funny. We'll get when we do Kevin. We'll have her on.
Oh, that'd be great.
I love how the cowboy, Mr. Cowboy fan over there.
Yeah.
Oh well, we got a guard
Sure. Good
to
luck.
block. Yeah, you're not blocking Jalen Carter, cuz.
No, good luck.
All right.
I need 5 guards.
Nice kid, Bucker. He's not blocking Jalen Carter.
Seems like a sweet kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Little pat him on the head. Nice guy.
Yeah. All right. Time now. What are we watching? Because the draft, obviously, we getting doing that. But then tomorrow night, date night. What are we watching? TV Todd.
Act like a man. You can't handle the truth.
It's time for TV Todd.
Oh, there he is. Todd.
He's all birdsed up.
Look at that. Look at that crew, man. Look at that. I feel what time is it? I feel like I'm on the show on Saturday.
Dude,
it feels like that.
Every Friday, we go longer and longer and longer. Pretty soon, it's going to be happy hour.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, so what did you think? Did you watch the draft last night?
No, I didn't watch it, but by all accounts, man, I think we did pretty well last night. I was seeing, and I got to talk about this. I was seeing a preview of the new Cheech and Chong documentary.
So wait a second. You were at the theater last night watching a Cheech and Chong doc.
He's dedicated to his craft,
look how
man.
serious he is. He's stone-faced about it
dedicated
because
to his
it was
craft.
probably great, right?
Let me tell you something. So I grew up, I was young. I was very young, but my parents somehow allowed me to listen to all of their records when I was 10 years old. They took me. Now listen to this. They took me to the Valley Forge Music Fair to see Cheech and Chong in the round.
Did they?
I was the only child in that entire theater, and my parents were getting dirty looks and everything, but I knew every word from every record at 10 years old.
That's amazing.
Dude, I love them. I convinced my dad one day to buy me the Cheech and Chong album. My mom ended up throwing it out.
No, really?
Yeah. Like we would just get it and sit in my friend Artie's basement and just put those records on. Just a stupid like that knock on the door, Dave. Dave's not here. It's like, no, man, it's me. I'm Dave. No, Dave's not here. It's like, come on, dude, the cops are here. It's me, Dave. Let me in, dude. We would laugh for hours at that stuff.
It's like
Yeah,
Baldy
the
watching film
document.
now. Todd's in the booth watching his, he's doing his
exactly
job,
right.
man.
He's doing a breakdown of the arc of the documentary.
Yeah, that's it.
You are exactly spot on. I love this documentary so much. It takes you through their history. I mean, their history is absolutely fascinating. There's no way these two guys, the odds were so stacked against them, because what was really cool about it is it takes you through the background of the entertainment industry at the time in the 70s. These guys were making records that were, gold records, platinum records, and then they decided to make a movie. And the first movie, produced by Lou Adler, who was a big Motown producer, it grossed somewhere around worldwide $100 million back in 1978. It was made for $2 million. And check out this deal, because Cheech and Chong didn't know at the time. They signed a deal for this film. Here's what they made off of that film. They each made $25,000.
Oh man!
Oh my God! Off a movie that made $100 million.
Right, and they made all their money touring. So because they took time off to make the movie, they didn't earn any money there. They were so broke, and the biggest stars on the planet. I mean, they were the first rock and roll comedians. They were opening up for the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
Unbelievable. So, they ended up being completely broke. And when they made their second movie, they tried to cash in a little bit and they got paid. But it's such a great documentary celebrating their career, their relationship. And they're very honest in that their relationship was rocky. And I'm telling you, I loved it brought back a lot of memories for me.
How come they didn't get along?
Well, the way they kind of describe it is, Cheech Marin looks at it and says, basically we were a band, right? And we had like creative issues. I think the crux of the issue between them was that Tommy Chong became sort of the director. He was the guy directing the movie. He directed Up in Smoke and Next Movie and Nice Dreams. And Cheech kind of felt like, maybe he didn't get a say creatively. And that's why he went on later to do Born in East LA. He did that film on his own. But I mean, I'm telling you, this doc is fascinating.
And
Tommy Chong,
he became like an actor.
He did. Cheech Marin became, to this day, he's really respected. But Tommy Chong too. Tommy Chong was before he got into comedy with Cheech, he was writing songs for Motown. He was in a Motown band. He wrote a song that became a big hit for Diana Ross and the Supremes. Him and his band discovered Jackson 5, and they got Jackson 5 over to Motown Records. I mean, truly great documentary. I'm really happy that I saw it, and I'm really happy they did it, because these two guys need to be celebrated.
Wow, that's awesome. That's cool. That sounds like I'm in on that, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
They also have a new movie coming out. Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
It's called the documentary, or it was like their last movie.
That's the documentary. So it's called Cheech and Chong's last movie, but it's a It's a 2-hour doc, and
cool.
they're in it. They're in it telling the stories, but everybody they broke so many big actors too. Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman, big time people.
They're the ones who did
Rita
Pee Wee
Wilson.
Herman?
They broke him. They broke him. They put him in Cheech and Chong's next movie and made him a star. Rita Wilson was in it. I mean, really, these guys, the talent is unbelievable. And they're very honest that they stole a lot of their bits from this sketch comedy group in Vancouver. I mean, it's such an honest documentary. I loved every second of it.
You guys should have met the Cosettes, man. You guys could have been discovered by Cheech and Chong.
I know.
Andrew, man.
Missed opportunity.
Gotta do it.
I'm old laptop.
I was yelling at him today. I go, dude, be a producer, not just a character. You're a good character, but I need you to be a producer. Right, cuz?
Yeah.
I love it. Yesterday you were framing up shots. You were framing up shots on your show.
I'm so frustrated, Todd. I couldn't be more frustrated as a filmmaker.
As a filmmaker.
I get it, man. I absolutely get it. I mean, like, it's so funny. Every day when I read the trades, it's like all we're doing is just pumping out the same stuff. Now they're doing a Clueless sequel with Alicia Silverstone. And I mean, like,
Yeah,
we
it's
need
just
this,
trash.
really?
Yeah, it's just trash.
I started Mobland.
Oh, dude, how great is that?
Yeah, Tom Hardy's the man.
He's the best.
He's awesome.
Hey, Todd, did you ever see Tom Hardy in the Cray Brothers, the Crays?
We talked about this.
Okay.
I did see it, but I haven't seen it for a long time, so I don't have a great recollection of it. But I remember it. I remember he was in it.
Yeah. So there's these gangs, London gangs, right? The two brothers. They control the London underworld, and you know what's nuts about it? There's a Philadelphia reference. Do you know the Philadelphia reference in the movie?
No.
There's a Philadelphia. You didn't say it. Angelo Bruno. There's a scene where he's meeting with Angelo Bruno. I forget who was playing Angelo Bruno in the movie, but it's either because they had a London. Well, you know this from reading my thing. They had a casino in London, and they were dealing with the Cray brothers.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Do they actually mention him by name in that movie?
Yeah, they have a meeting. They're in the room with him.
Wow. I told you this, cuz, but Angelo Bruno asked my grandmother to marry him.
Yeah, isn't that nuts? I remember hearing that story. She was a character. I want to hear more about her.
Oh, I got some stories, man. I got some great stories. Great stories. Going through her photo albums and seeing pictures of Frank Sinatra, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Frank. This guy Frank." I'm like, "This guy Frank,
man. Blue eyes, hanging out with blue eyes, man.
This guy Frank. Yeah, this guy Frank. This guy there. That's awesome."
Hey, Todd, I started Friends and Neighbors. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, you're Friends and Neighbors.
Oh, dude. I watched the first episode. It's some of the best writing I've seen on a TV show. I'm going to get back. I don't know if it holds up, but the first episode's phenomenal.
It's getting great reviews, man. I mean, first of all, everyone loves John Hamm. I mean, that guy's like just a likable dude. You know, if I heard this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's a weird, TV right now, there's some, man, people are, listen, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but people are freaking out about The Last of Us, the episode that just aired this week. I don't know if you read about it.
It's really good. I got a lot of people in my circle talking about it.
It's been in my group chat. I haven't seen it, but people were raving.
People
about
are
it.
all around me are all talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you played the video games, you kind of know what happens. You already know the story, but to see it done like they did, the production that they did for it, was really, really.
But I'm talking to
really
I'm talking to my aunt who's not a game player. She's like, "Did you see The Last of Us?
Oh yeah,
so good."
Yeah, for even the people who didn't play the game, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's when you know it's good.
Pulls you right in.
Yeah, I never played the game, and I watched that episode cold, not knowing what. No. It's awesome. Not knowing what, but the way they did it, man, I could, after the episode aired, you sit there for a moment. You can't move. It was really, really good, but so many great shows. Gemstones winding up, I think this week or next week. The Rehearsal episode 1, we talked about it last week. Unbelievable. Nathan Fielder goes out there to try to solve some of the airplane crashes. Incredible. So there's like a lot of really good stuff. The studio is still going strong. My pick,
I love that show.
My movie pick, it's me too, cuz
it's great.
I laugh
I love it.
so hard
it's
every
a great
week.
show.
But here's the best. Did you read that they're actually Bill Hader is producing and starring in? They're actually making a Jonestown Massacre movie or show.
Are they really?
Yes.
I mean, guess what? It makes sense. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Marty.
Yeah.
Is Marty going to direct it?
The Kool-Aid Man in it?
Great. It would be great if I think Hader may be directing it, but if they should get Scorsese, that would be amazing.
That'd be the best.
But my pick of the week is
in Entourage when he wants to make the Pablo Escobar movie.
Yeah.
And they wind up doing the Netflix.
Medellin.
Right.
Medellin.
Yeah. And then they wind up doing the great series Narcos. Yeah,
I know, man. You have connections to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But the movie, I think so last week I told your audience about The Order with Jude Law, and your audience, at least your audience, has totally backed me up that is a fantastic movie. And Jude Law is an amazing.
I love Jude Law.
Performance.
I'm a huge Jude Law fan. I think he's a great actor.
Does it all. He's in rom-coms, he does a series, he's in war movies. He does it all,
he's
man.
a great actor.
I watched
Jude
that
Law is
movie.
fantastic.
I watched that movie immediately after he recommended it that weekend. Loved it.
Yeah.
Jude Law, fantastic.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just felt like Jude Law, like he finally played he played a guy his age, right? And it just seemed so real to me. It was such a great performance. So people really like that. This week, I got to recommend, and I talked about it when it was in the theaters with you guys, but it's finally streaming. I think it's on Peacock, started today. The Last Breath with Woody Harrelson.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about a date night movie tomorrow night after the draft or something you want to watch. This is the movie to watch. So Woody Harrelson plays, he's part of a dive team that what they do is they go and they repair pipelines.
Right.
And it's true story. And off the coast of Ireland, they go down to repair this pipeline and an accident happens. And the movie is almost in real time and trying to rescue these divers. And I'm telling you, man, it's a great movie. I can't believe it went in and out of the theaters so quickly. You're going to love it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it, and and it was riveting. I mean, the trailer was riveting.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's really.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it again. it again. That's how much I really liked it. And I read afterwards the real story, and it's very faithful to what really happened.
Wow.
And it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling what happens.
That's awesome. All right. Well, listen, my brother.
Oh, can I know we're here late, but because you're here, you're a lawyer, and you're a hockey fan. The Carter Hart, that hockey trial is going on. Did you see they declared a mistrial?
Yeah, just happened. Just happened.
They're saying that the judge who declared it a mistrial says the media can report that it's a mistrial, but they can't publish any more details about her decision. And now there's a media consortium is challenging the publication ban.
Well, but here's the thing, though. It was a mistrial, but they're immediately picking a new jury right now.
Yeah, they're going to start.
So it's not a situation. Right. It's not a situation where the prosecutors are going to drop the charges or anything like that. But you're right. They won't tell us the reason for a mistrial. You get that in the United States, but not in Canada. So it's really, I mean, it's heart-wrenching for everybody involved when you go through a mistrial. It really is. It really is. To start over is just an emotional roller coaster.
That's awful. What do you make of the playoffs?
In first round, I was expecting a little bit more, back and forth. Some, like a boxing match. You punch, you punch, you punch. I don't know. The series feel like they're running away now at this point. So I don't know. I still think I just heard the brain, and I heard him talk about Caps Montreal. I have this weird feeling about Montreal.
Okay.
That they're going to do, at least take one at home, maybe two. I just have a weird feeling about it. But other than that, though, I
can't believe Tampa getting trounced both games at home.
But hockey's a sport where it happens more frequently where they can win 3 in a row. Like, sometimes it's like, oh, it's over. Like hockey's a sport where
you come back,
you're down 2-0 and it happens more than not where teams are coming back and battling. So
no doubt. Truth. All right, brother. We'll talk over the weekend. Have a great week. All right, buddy.
Have a good one, guys. You too.
Have a good one.
Todd.
We got Jimmy Steaks coming on for the Phillies pregame.
It's the truth, man.
Might as well just keep it going, right?
Let's roll into the Philly game at this point.
It's noon.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Take it all the way to draft.
It is. It's noon. Don't forget tonight, the PHLY draft coverage begins again. All right, so Fran, Zach, Bo will be here manning the draft at 6:30. It's going to be a busy day here on all PHLY again. Should be a lot of fun. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll come back Monday and dissect it 7 ways from Sunday. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Joey. We love you. We'll see you Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.